Sunday, which means it is time to wind down your weekend with us here at Bat City Comic Professionals. I'm Shannon, aka Small Press Shannon, with my awesome, amazing co-host Phil, Wednesday Phil. Check him out. Check him out. What you got for us today, Phil?
I'm wearing my Venom shirt because I've been listening to the band Venom. They're pretty awesome. Check them out. Also, I officially today have started watching Lost for the first time.
Oh, man.
I will watch it in its entirety. And the reason is because I went and hung out with my roommate Nigel today. We went out and looked at sports cards and stuff. And on the ride back home, he was talking about how much he hated Lost. And his hatred for it fueled me to be like, I want to watch this.
Of course it did.
So we went home and I put the pilot of Lost on, and it's great. I have very high expectations. The dialogue is really bad,
yes.
And I laughed enough to where I'm like, yes, this is the show I want to watch.
It's funny, we were just talking about one of the actors from Lost last night while watching the baseball game. It somehow got us on it, so it's kind of not surprising that Nigel would then go home and be on a Lost kick, because we had just had a huge Lost conversation. It's a show. I think that my favorite thing about Lost is actually Judd Apatow's daughter's character in This Is 40 and her obsession with the show Lost. That was actually probably my favorite thing total ever about Lost. And I fully expect that is going to become you in the next couple of weeks. That you're going to be like, I'm just really stressed out about the people on Lost right now. So I look forward to those experiences to come. And you told me when you got here, your Venom shirt and your Venom listening, that you found that they have a song about Elizabeth Bathory.
Yes, it's called Countess Bathory, and it's super fantastic. And the first thing I thought of was I want to play that song while rereading Vanity #1.
Yeah.
Because it would fit perfectly. And it was all about her just being a total murdering badass.
No, see, apparently that's the soundtrack you need. So if you grab Black Caravan's Vanity #1, which is the story of Elizabeth Bathory, you can get that Venom track going so you can do it all at one time. We are, as I said, winding down your weekend, and so if you are watching live with us, let us know in the comments like how you're winding down your weekend. If you're watching this later on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe, follow the channel, all those good things. And feel free to still comment if you're winding down your middle of the week while you watch this on whatever you're watching it on. We are drinking a 1924, which is a double black bourbon barrel aged Cab Sav by Gnarly Head, which I was informed makes beer.
Great name.
And this one I love. They have the big story on the back, which is why I was like, I don't know if we've had this one before, because this big story sounds great. But it's 1924, the heart of Prohibition, and the year our winery first planted vineyards in California. During an era of gangsters and speakeasies, Americans would not be denied their favorite beverages. Daring drinkers sipped wine on the sly and found a loophole allowing doctors to prescribe bourbon. In honor of the bold time, two once forbidden favorites come together to inspire our 1924 bourbon barrel aged Cab Sav. It says it's a liberal wine layered with suggestions of blackberry, fig, warm spice, and notes of reminiscent of bourbon, which would be caramel, brown sugar, and toasted oak. So,
that's the stuff. That's the stuff for me.
Oh, that is good.
I feel distinguished when I drink something like
I feel like this hits the middle ground of like the sweeter thing that you like, and the oakier thing.
Yeah.
So
it's see. Like grapes, but someone sprinkled dirt in there. Or like good tasting dirt.
They took the grapes directly out of the dirt and handed them to you.
Or like they rubbed them on the trees.
Right, because we like it when it tastes like there's still the dirt in there. And you like when it tastes more like the grapes. So yeah, that nice little like blend of the two. Chad said he is enjoying a belated Wednesday holiday wind down himself this weekend. Wednesday's holiday, if you know.
Yes.
This Wednesday was 4/20.
Talk about later.
Yeah. Enjoy however you want to celebrate. We're going to drink this wine throughout the night, 1924. Again, let us know if you're winding down or winding up, if it's the beginning of the week for you. your experience. We've got a lot of comics to talk about tonight. Not real. I say that. It's not really. We got a normal amount of comics to talk about. It was one of those weeks where, like, thankfully wasn't a monstrous week because our Diamond shipment, we got all of our free comic book day books in, but we didn't get our actual weekly comic books in until 11:40 on Wednesday morning, and we open at noon. So I mad rushed to put all of the books in everybody's boxes and on the wall and everything. And I told you I was so excited because I was like, oh, there's only like 10 or 12 new books you have to read this week. And then I opened up the first book and I was like, wait a second. Yesterday somebody brought this book over and this book wasn't in my stack. Oh, and somebody else was talking about Nice House on the Lake. And somebody else was talking about this. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm missing a whole other stack of books. So today I had the fun experience of learning that I had double the amount of reading to do for this live stream. But we did it. And now we're going to tell you about all of them. Yes. So we're going to start with some of the hot new titles out this week, go through just some of those continuing stories, and then we'll drop in some beginnings and endings that we've got coming on before we head into our picks of the week. So up first, we have We Live, Age of the Paladins, issue 2 from Aftershock. Which, shout out, if you don't know, the Miranda brothers will be at Fan Expo in Dallas this summer. Yes. So if you're a We Live fan, this is and they have a CGC sign. And
Pete from Aftershock hooking us up today.
Yes.
They can't hear me.
No, but do you want to grab it and I'll show them? No? Yes, maybe. We've got some incentives from Pete. Yeah. Because I don't know what they are.
Well, he hooked us up.
Yeah, he also did that. We'll talk about that. Anyway, Age of the Paladins, We Live. This is issue 2. If you didn't read the first volume of We Live, it is the story of the Earth has been destroyed and it's trying to correct itself, which has left us with monsters and dangerous situations. And it follows 2 young kids as there is an alien race that basically says, we're going to give you 25 bracelets. If you put one of these bracelets on a kid, they come to a drop point. We're going to pick them up and we're going to save these 2,500 kids and raise them in our way. And one little girl who's about 10 years old finds the bracelet, puts it on her younger brother, and then the first arc of We Live is the story of them going to this drop point. It's very emotionally charged for the first volume. It's so good. But if you are jumping in now, we have found that there was a major shift in what the story was about at the end of We Live, Volume 1. And now we see exactly how we're going to save the Earth. What I love about this is it's still this story of these 2 siblings and even some of the other kids that they met along the way. You still get that, even though they're kind of aged up and we're seeing them later in their life. You know, we see Tala, who is the main girl, the sister who had put the bracelet on her brother. And in issue 2, we're seeing her succumbs to some kind of virus, there's something wrong with her and nobody really knows what it is. And while her brother is kind of now the hero of the world, the only thing he cares about is the fact that his sister is in danger. And while they're you have to do this mission, and he's like, my mission is always to protect her and it's to be with her, and that's always our mission together. And the thing about We Live is there's always these beautiful speeches in it. And at the end of this one, Tala is talking about how when everything happened at the end of Volume 1, she felt like it was the same as that moment when their mother passed and she had held her hand, and the last thing that happened was her mom squeezed her hand. And she's like, when everything was getting dark and everything bad was happening, I felt like that little bit of hope came through felt the same as mom squeezing my hand. And she's giving this speech about how, the world is dark and it's always going to be a dark place. But as long as you hold on to that, one moment and you have that hope that you can you can find the path that's going to lead to a better tomorrow. And it's they're just throwing these great speeches in every issue of We Live, kind of like Canto, where it's you get to the end and then it's okay, now here's the moral of the story. Right. Thank you for joining us today. Here's the beauty of the thing. And I love the bright colors that these books use.
I mean, that was the appeal for We Live originally. Mm-hmm. So last time there was a white and a black.
Yes.
It's now just one.
It's
correct?
now just one.
Okay.
White and black was to kind of give us 2 points of where everybody was, and then it merged into one story. So going forward, you won't have different arcs, but there are trading cards for every issue. So if you come in, if you buy a copy of We Live, or if you just come in and you want to collect them, we have them at the front of the store, actually. But there are individual trading cards for each of the characters that go with this story. So it's a super cool way to grab that.
That's, I did not know that there were trading cards for this. That's really cool.
Yeah. And then, like Matt said, since we're talking about it, Pete, who is our Aftershock ambassador, came in today. And hooked us up with something. I know you're going to be really excited about this. This is our Aftershock Ambassador exclusive variant for Kaiju Score. This one, if Phil doesn't take it, will be up in the store for sale. So you might have a battle with Phil on this one. But this is for the new volume of Kaiju Score. It's super dope, and that is our exclusive.
That's a great cover.
This, I almost like jumped up and down in excitement. So Matt, we were not Aftershock Ambassador store when Bunny Mask came out, which, if you don't know, is Matt's favorite Aftershock title and one of his favorite comic books on the shelves in general. And Matt even did a Bunny Mask costume, wears it and stuff. We were not an Aftershock Ambassador store when Bunny Mask came out, so we didn't get the Ambassador exclusive. And because of how much Matt talks about how much he loves Bunny Mask and everything, Pete actually called the Aftershock home office and was like, hey, do we have any more of these Francavilla Aftershock Ambassador exclusives that I can get for this guy? So this is actually like so Pete brought in this Francavilla exclusive Bunny Mask cover. This is of Bunny Mask #1 of the original series of Bunny Mask, not the new volume. And so I think this was like just an awesome, incredible way to start the day was that. So thanks, Pete. Pete's always doing a great thing. I just want to once again shout out Aftershock donated a whole box of books that they sent to us just for us to give away to students in schools. They gave us an entire box of their middle grade and YA line seismic press. They shipped us a whole box of their stuff. So that was super cool. Aftershock's really like taking part in what we're doing, and they're really trying to be help us get books in the classrooms and bring more books to kids and to other excited adults about comic books.
Yes, very much so.
Thanks again, Aftershock, and thanks, Pete.
That Francavilla cover is
freaking a beautiful thing. Yes. Yeah.
And I think, too, I remember Matt showing that to me when the Bunny Mask craze started. He was like, have you seen this Francavilla cover? I'm like, no, I didn't know it was a thing. Yeah, we wanted it so bad. So they're really expensive. So I'm glad we finally got one. Up next from AWA Upshot, Primos #3 of 4, at least for this volume. Yes.
What do you got, Phil? I know you love this book.
I do enjoy this book. So this is kind of, there is a sort of intergalactic battle involving the Mayans and these two Mayan brothers, and it has led to one of the brothers having to put together a team of cousins who all have superpowers. Mm-hmm. And the first 2 issues was kind of... God, there's a lot of ads in this book. The first 2 issues was kind of forming the team. It started with the young kid who is kind of like a Doctor Strange-esque, has some type of magical powers. The other cousin, the older one, is like a James Bond.
Very Punisher meets James Bond kind of thing. Like he's like a spy, but he has all the guns and the skull and yeah.
And so issue 2, we're introduced to him. And then this issue, of course, is bringing in the female cousin, who in the first issue was kind of referred to as a Gal Gadot-esque fighter. And so now it's like the 3 of them coming together. Since there is only 1 issue left after this is kind of ramping up towards the final battle.
Yeah, and I assume that we're getting a volume 2. I assume that they're not going to end the whole thing, and I think we'll get the end of this arc, and then something will happen at the end of the next issue that'll lead us into a new arc, because this is such a great series. I think they'll definitely keep it going.
Yeah, it's been a ton of fun, and it's one of those where you can kind of explore more of the backstory, some of the stuff between the 2 brothers. Like, they could really open up this world. I really like it, too, because there's a lot of, like, pop culture references. The main character is a young boy. He kind of almost feels like Deadpool to me in a way. And the way that he just kind of like rambles on a lot of the time and is very jokey.
He reminds me, and that's a lot of things do, as you know if you watch the show regularly, but he does kind of remind me of Ultimate Spider-Man too. Like, the way he talks, like, the cartoon especially, like, if you've seen the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon, the way he rambles, like, to all the people that he's talking to, but then also is rambling to you at the same time.
Yeah.
And giving you the joke and then, like moving on, like, in the middle of it. Like, it's very quippy in that way. And then also, just has that flowing dialogue. I do think some of the references are a little outdated for how young he is, but it's great for the people reading it. Right. This is one of those moments where, like, the writer and the reader are probably not actually a YA audience, so the references are geared towards the reader more than towards the actual, like, age range of the character, who, if they made the age range jokes, like, people probably wouldn't, like, people buying the comic probably wouldn't necessarily know them. I always laugh because there's this whole thing that was going on for years in YA where all of the comp titles, like, that they'd compare stuff to when they would try to sell a book to kids was always like, it's the Breakfast Club meets, and I was like, these kids don't know what the Breakfast Club is. Stop using that, like, outdated title. And we see that in some of the jokes in this where I'm like, that's not, a kid didn't say that, but I get it, so it's funny to me. Right.
And they know where the audience.
They know where their audience is.
Like, they know that kids aren't coming in today off the show, like, picking this off the shelves.
And it's got a lot of foul language, so it's definitely not geared towards that. Like, while it does have one of the protagonists being a younger kid, they're not necessarily, it's not like Reptile, which was geared towards that specific thing, with that same group of cousins and everything that's actually geared towards a young group. This is actually geared towards an older market, even though it does have that one young lead.
Yeah, but I think it's fun. You get the Carlo Barberi art, Al Madrigal doing the story. I think it's a fun read. It's only going to be 4 issues. Definitely pick it up.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it. It's one of the, like, I don't read a bunch of the AWA stuff, but that one stuck with me this whole time.
And I feel, and we do have all of them, so if you're like, I want to check it out, but I want to go back and start at issue 1, should I wait for a trade? You can actually jump in now. We have issues 1 and 2. Trial of the Amazons, Wonder Girl. This is the second part of her specific tie-in to the story. This is obviously from DC Comics, which we don't normally do too much Big 2, but I always have to bring my Wonder Girl.
Right,
because I love my Yada Floor.
Well, we need to be celebrating the fact that there is a Wonder Woman event.
Yes.
That is going on in comics. It's finally happening.
It's finally happening. And what I love about this event is the whole thing was that it was going to be this contest of champions, like, who's going to be the representative of the tribes of all the Amazons have come together. There's the 3 major tribes that we know about are all here, and it's like, we're going to have this massive battle, and we're going to see who is going to be, like, the ultimate Amazon tribe and the ultimate Amazon, like, leader. And as soon as the battle started in the last issue, they ended up, like, there was this explosion, and all of the champions ended up below ground, and they were like, hey, you know what? This is stupid. Like, what we're good at is each important to this whole thing. So maybe the biggest battle is learning that we should be working together and not fighting against each other. And that's the battle that we've won and that we're taking on. And this picks up where that left off, where Diana is potentially being crushed to death by, like, some Doom's Doorway, like, stones that have fallen. And it kind of jumps back. And I think this is really interesting because it does bounce back and forth between the Wonder Girls. When Wonder Girl Yada Floor started, everybody was like, but I thought Cassie was still Wonder Girl. She is, and she is in this book, and so I love that we see Yada with the champions under, like, ground, trying to get back to the main hub of all of the Amazons and kind of telling them, like, what's going on, that Doom's Doorway is broken open, potentially, and that there's all this bad stuff. And then you've got Cassie, who's been investigating the death of Hippolyta. And she actually gets to have, like, that full-on Sherlock Holmes moment in this issue where she's like, I'm going to tell you who the murderer is, but before I do, let me run through everything so I can tell you how I ruled out all of the suspects. And I love that she actually even says that. Like, I'm going to tell you, but first I'm going to go through everything because I did all this work and you need to listen. And you need to see why these people could have done it but didn't. Right. And we do find out who murdered Hippolyta in this issue, but we don't have a motive. But I will tell you that there is a spinoff book coming for that person to tell you.
Oh wow!
Well, I think we'll learn some more.
Yeah.
I love this. I loved this one specifically because it is very much like this whole event has very much been like, oh, we're sisters, and like, let's not fight. Like, women shouldn't fight each other to be the best. We should work together and continue to like build each other up. And this issue really, really showed that between specifically all of the Wonder Girls, because even Donna Choi is in there and she's a part of the team. And so it was really cool to see them all working together and how it's playing out. And there is a lot more to come from the Amazons, and I love that this isn't going to be, because I know everybody's worried, like Nubia and Yada and everybody were going to go away.
Right.
This is only the beginning, and I believe that we're going to see the conclusion coming up next of Trial of the Amazons. That's going to lead us into where everything is going, so...
Sweet.
Really excited. Read it. It's wonderful.
And this is part 6 of 7.
Mm-hmm.
So only one more.
One more, which is Trial of the Amazons Part 2. Like,
okay.
It's just the event
Omega.
title. Yes, essentially. Up next, Animal Castle, issue 5. This is from Ablaze Comics, and it is quite frankly just a phenomenal piece of literature. That's kind of the best way to describe it. I did a teacher seminar this week, and I was already telling them, like, when this book comes up, I'm going to bring you a copy. Like, we need to get this book into kids' hands to help them understand Animal Farm, because this is essentially a direct sequel to Animal Farm.
Right.
They specifically talk about, like, they even mention the pigs, and the pigs aren't in charge anymore, but now we've put ourselves, like, in an even worse predicament because here we are. And it follows the only living adult cat. She is the last remaining adult cat, and she has kittens, and so she's always just kind of kept her head down and done her work on the castle grounds, you know, picking up sticks, working on the castle, like maintenance, all the stuff that she does. She always kept her head down, and then one day she gets tired of all the murders of the people who don't agree with the guy in charge and all of the mistreatment that the animals are getting. And so she's like, how do we actually stand up for the animals and for ourselves? And so in this, we've seen them kind of start a revolution, but without any violence has been the thing, and without breaking any laws. It's like, hey, how could we do a revolution against them? But we're not going to break laws, and we're not going to fight back, because we'll never win against the steers and the dogs. Like, we're not going to win that.
Right.
Every single issue of this book is so beautifully done. It's just, it's such a great story, like, telling experience. It's literally just classic fine literature at its best.
Right.
And it's so incredible to read, and it's so cool to see how they make their revolution happen, and how the political side works on both, because we do see the other side of it. So we are seeing, like, the dogs and the steers and the conversations they're having in regards to how to not bow down to this revolution that's happening. And there's always something tragic in every issue, because that's how this goes, and there's always just a million new steps forward and as many steps backwards as so often goes in revolutions. And this one, once again, by the time you get to the end, you're like, oh my god, this I can't believe that this is what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So good.
I mean, yeah, you can't go wrong with this. I was a big fan of Animal Farm. I think the fact that it's a sequel makes it even better. You know, it just makes me wonder, like, how far can you really take this story? You know, can you keep retelling this kind of like history, you know, repeats itself? Yeah. But also, I don't want to say that it's from how great this book is, but I did see that they're going to let Andy Serkis do his Animal Farm movie. So I'm just going to basically say that it was how amazing this book is what made that happen. And
it's definitely not because Animal Farm became public domain this year.
That's
definitely
nothing
not
to do with that at all.
Everybody wasn't, like, holding off and waiting for that to happen.
But yeah, definitely, I would actually love to see this be an Eisner nominee.
Oh my god, I hope it is.
And that would put Ablaze, in the conversation.
Where it should be.
Yes.
There's just been so many beautifully moving stories that have come from Ablaze this year. And I hope that and then some fun ones too, like Life Zero, but we've had a lot of really beautiful stories, and I hope that we see a million more coming, and that they get the recognition for that they deserve. Also from Aftershock this week, we have Land of the Living Gods number 3. This is a really fun story, classic quest. We've got a young girl who her mother has passed away and told her essentially on her deathbed that it's her responsibility to bring back the gods to the world. And she has to find this land of the living gods and kind of convince the gods to leave there and come back and help humanity. And she has her plant with her that's kind of possibly a god. We don't really know. There's something special about this. We think it's a god. Who knows? It could be something different. But the second her and her plant take their first, steps out of the house, she's already kidnapped by somebody. She's already been sold, for her alleged magic and use, property, the use that they could get out of her. And so she got nowhere. She's made it nowhere so far in her journey, but we are seeing a great side character, the character who actually catches her in that first issue and is the one that's like, oh, I'm going to sell you to these people and I'm going to get rid of you. We're starting to see that, conflicted character. Oh, maybe I need to stop being him. I've always been in it for myself. That's the way it's got to work because nobody's looking out for anybody in this world and things are going to be bad. And so I'm just trying to get enough money to get me and my people, out of here, my girlfriend and whoever else I can take with me. And now she's kind of having that change of heart moment where she's like, okay, maybe doing things just for yourself isn't the best. And yeah, sure, the gods probably don't exist or they don't care anymore or whatever, but, maybe I did the wrong thing. And so in this issue, we start to see a lot of that character development from that secondary character who I think we're going to see just really make a great conflicted character growth arc come in for that person. And I think I can't wait to see them actually team up if that does lead that direction. Yeah.
I mean, the art in this book, that's what really draws me to this one. Because I stopped after that first issue and it's I'll trade wait for this one. Because I'm just a really big fan of world building. And I feel like there's so much potential with the world building, especially with the gods.
Yes.
But yeah, I feel like this is going to be one of those books that's going to be slept on, and then later on, people are going to be like, have you read Land of the Living Gods? It's yeah, I know. It's really good.
It's really good. And I know when we got issue 1 in, it was one of those books where everybody was already talking about, there's, possible options. There's there's a lot of talk around this book. And then, of course, people grab that one issue, but then they don't read it because they're saving it and because it might be, an important, speculation book. And I feel like all of the people who didn't take the time to read it, really missed out. And everybody who grabbed it, who was oh, I heard it might be a hot book, and then went home and actually, took the time to read it, has come back in since then and subscribed to the title and was nice. I'm so glad I read this. I wasn't going to read it. I was just going to save it. I'm so glad I changed my mind because this book has been so good.
Yeah.
So if you got a copy, read it. And if you don't want to read your copy, come get another one and read it because it's a really great book and you're going to enjoy it.
Yeah, and I would like to actually, if it does get optioned, maybe an animated. I'd rather be animated than live action. I
think it would make a really great animated film.
Yeah, it would be great.
Yeah. Just to keep that beautiful artwork in play.
Most definitely. That's the only reason I said
that. I figured. From Madcave, we have Speed Republic issue 3, I believe. Is
yes, number 3.
What do you think, Phil? I know this is one of those books.
So, this is set in, kind of think Hunger Games meets Death Race.
Yes.
Because it's in a world where, very much like Hunger Games, there's a huge gap between the rich and the poor, and they basically let the poor race in this race across all of Europe.
Yes.
And basically, winner gets to move up into the upper class, and you are starting to see a few of the different racers that are involved in this, including a brother and sister who are the main characters. This issue, I had no idea what was going on. I was very confused by some of the story. And then I realized that our main character is tripping.
He's tripping.
And Because I was like, I don't remember any of this from the second issue. Like, some of these things that he's talking about, I'm like, what's going on? And then I was like, oh, that's right. He took drugs.
He took drugs, and he's completely lost, yeah.
Because there's even a moment, too, where he's in the car with his sister, and he's not talking to her like he knows her. He keeps referring to her as the Electric Lady.
The Electric Lady, and he's like, your body might shock people, but I still think you can help them. And I was like, I love this. I love this conversation.
Like, it was really great, because you're kind of trying to figure out what's going on in this issue, but it's a ton of fun. I do really like this book. It kind of got to a point towards the end of this issue where I was like, I don't know if this is going to remain a book about the race. Like, I don't know if we're going to be... Because I kind of thought it was going to be a very linear story. Like, here's an actual starting and a finishing line. And I feel like maybe they just drove real far west and just said, you know what, forget the finish line at all. Let's go off on this other adventure.
And he kind of ended up that way, not on purpose. Like, they, because his car got hijacked, essentially, while he was on drugs and used for other things. And so, yeah, now he's kind of like, I don't even know if he's still in the race at this point.
I don't know.
But he is, like, he's realizing that the only reason he joined the race was to make a difference, so he doesn't really care, other than that it lets him have the ability to travel from place to place that he's in this race. And I can't wait to see how this plays out between him and the sister, because it's been a really cool dichotomy of characters, because they are on opposite ends of the spectrum.
And they say that in the comic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when he's on drugs. Yeah. He's like, you could be good. And she's like, well, I think that you can't. Like, I don't think you be a good person by doing nice things for people. I think you be a good person by killing all of the bad people.
Right.
And he's like, well, but when you do that, you leave a giant hole where all the good people didn't actually get any help, and there's still nobody, like, helping pull the good people out of it. Right. And she's like, yeah, well, that's their problem. And it's like, no, I think you're missing it. Like, and of course he's on drugs, so it's like a really weird, awkward, like, way of saying it, but it's a really great conversation. Yeah,
this one's been fun so far.
Yeah.
I'd be curious to see. I feel like it could go, like, 2 arcs. Mm-hmm. A good 10, 12 issues.
Oh, yeah.
Because at first I thought maybe it was going to be, like, a 5-issue miniseries. Mm-hmm. Because we seemed like we were on a path of some sort, and now it's just like, well, maybe not. Maybe one person's going to go over here and try to take down the system, and the other one's going to try to help people who are outside the system, which I'm kind of cool with. If you want to take a long detour route away from the finish line and we get back there, go for it.
It's about the journey, not the destination, literally, in this story. I actually stuck Homesick Pilots issue 14 from Image in our pile this week, because the next issue is the last one.
Yes.
So I mostly wanted to bring it up just to talk about that and remind you, if you have not started Homesick Pilots, it's almost coming to an end, and there's still time to not miss out on some of the best, like, use of pinks and purples, and a great story. Homesick Pilots is all about 2 bands that are, they're punk bands who are trying to see who can outdo each other the most. By finding, like, the weirdest place to have a show, and one of our bands decides, hey, the Homesick Pilots, that we'll have it in a haunted house. And that leads us to literally having members of the Homesick Pilots possessed by the house to find all of the ghosts of the house and bring them home to the house. And it leads our other members of our other band warring against that in a whole new way. This has the most ridiculous concept when you say it out loud, but it is so good every time.
Yeah, I'm actually a few issues behind, because once they said that it was coming to an end, I was like, okay, I'm going to wait, because I'm going to be sad as this book comes to an end. Although I do know that they said that there's probably going to open up the universe. It may not just remain just Homesick Pilots. They may switch to miniseries. But more than anything, I mean, this Casper Wingard art is just
phenomenal.
It is so good. This is easily some of my favorite art on the shelf. I love this book.
Absolutely.
It's great. Yeah, definitely get a chance to pick it up. We have the trade.
We do have trades of volume 1, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely get in on this, or wait, and maybe Image will give you one of those nice hardcovers. What's the whole thing?
Did you get my snap that I sent you today? Speaking of nice hardcovers,
Yes, I tried to forget it.
there is a hardcover coming from Image of Carmen, which was one of my favorite books of last year, as well as Phil's. And so, if you're interested in a hardcover collection of the Carmen series that came out last year from Gilliam March at Image Comics, let us know, because they just had a thing in an ad in, I think it's actually in that Homesick Pilots issue, and I had to send a video of it to Phil so that he could hate me forever, and I'm okay with that. If that's the reason you hate me, then I'm doing my job. And also, yes, I am ordering you a copy, don't you worry.
I know.
Up next from Source Point Press is Cover of Darkness issue 4. This is Source Point Press's Universal Monster books, because everybody has one right now. This is a Source Points, which was kind of the lead of those, really. It really kind of kicked it off. This issue particularly gives us our creature story, which I was very excited about when I saw the cover. I was like, ooh, we're underwater. Is this the creature from the Black Lagoon kind of story? And it is, and I love it. We always get the story in multiple parts in Cover of Darkness, because we're seeing whatever is going on with the monsters that's leading to this kind of war situation. We see the backstory, the origin story of one of the Universal monsters, and then we're also seeing the other side of this war conversation with our Romani family, who is both protector of people and magic, essentially. This is it's ridiculous fun, and I love it so much. I'm a sucker for all things Universal Monsters, so same. I'm a terrible judge of whether or not it is actually a good comic, but I will tell you I love it every time. And the story with the creature was just, I was like, I want to hug him. The whole time I was like, what if I hug you, creature from the Black Lagoon? Would that be okay? And if you read the story, it probably would be, because it totally makes sense with the context. But I can't wait to see what this is building towards, honestly.
Right.
I don't want it to ever end, and I want them to just keep bringing in random monsters, but I also want to know, where we're going at the same time.
I feel towards an all-out brawl.
Oh, for sure. It's going to be bad.
Let's just throw all the Universal monsters into arena.
And see what happens.
And let them go crazy. Yeah, this has been a very interesting book, and of course, the Universal monster aspect of it is just such a high selling point. Yes. I kind of hope that every year they draw categories or topics out of a hat, and then they just message all of the publishers, and there's all right, in 2022 you have to have a Universal monster and a vampire book, and they have to be two separate ones. Two
separate things. You don't connect. Yeah. You have to have both vampires and Universal monsters. And you know what? I think we're on track right now. We're doing good.
Yes. So
Source Point is nailing it. They have 3 vampire books and this one.
Yeah, they were oh, you just want 1 and 1? No, we're going to give you as many as we can possibly come out with.
Source Point understood the assignment. So, yes. Let's... I can't wait to see what else that comes from. And I also want to know what next year's going to bring, now that you said that. Because it is actually how it works.
Yeah.
And that's always been the case of, publishing. And it's so funny because we've got it in comics, and it's just, the vampire stuff is just starting to hit, the prose world. And people keep asking me, they're because they're starting to come back in YA, and everybody's dude, are vampires back? And I'm oh, yeah, dude, we've had them in comics for, the whole year, a little bit into last year, the end of, 2021, started the vampires in comics, so I feel what we do, flows into the rest of the, media world, so, and again, I'm still blaming Robert Pattinson. I think everybody got, talking about Twilight again, and they were you know what, vampires were cool. Why don't we go back to that? And then we did. So we're just going to put it all on Robert Pattinson, who wants you to forget that Twilight exists. But you didn't. So sorry, Rob.
We'll never forget, Robert. It'll always be us in our brains.
Always. Spunk ransom for the Twilight fans. Slumber, issue 2 from Image Comics is out this week as well. I know this is another one of those that had like crazy fun art that you like were tripping through.
I mean, that first issue.
Oh my god, that first issue.
So fantastic. And it's a great concept. I mean, this has your kind of like unlikely hero who is a dream detective. Her whole job is to go in there and fight off your nightmares so you don't have them anymore. She does it real Ghostbuster style. Mm-hmm. She's quippy. The dream sequence art is fantastic. And in that first issue, there are a string of murders being investigated by some cops. And they get the card of this dream, this dream detective. And it kind of sets them on this path that is now crossing between the police and the dream detective, because they are both after the same nightmare, which is this creepy, they refer to her as a hag, an old hag created out of shadows.
Yes.
Which that alone sounds super cool. It's like, okay, awesome. I'm glad that we're doing this. But, I mean, yeah, this book it's got everything that I would want from an Image title.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like Greens and Blues is where we're going next on colors. We're starting to see that, and I'm in. I'm in for that, because the Greens and Blues look really good.
Look, can I just say, in the past year, a little over a year, the colorists in the comic book industry, hey, hats off to you more than anyone else on the creative team, because
killing it.
All of the colorists that they are finding have just been nailing it. And then, of course, the ones that you're expecting, like your Jordi Belairs and your D. Cunniffs, like, nailing it.
Continuously, nailing it. It's comics. Comics are just so damn good.
So damn good right now. We are, especially indie comics, like,
yes.
I try and tell people, I work with folks who never read a comic.
Mm-hmm.
They know that the Marvel movies exist, and most of them haven't even seen those. And so every time I'll bring them like one or two books. Like I have a coworker right now, and I brought him 2 comics, and I was like, hey, read these and tell me what you think. Space Riders was one of them.
Oh, nice.
I gave him Space Riders, and he was like, whoa, comics look like this now? And I'm like, dude, you have no idea. It is some next level stuff right now. I was showing him art from Mega as well.
Yeah, oh man, yes.
Because, he was asking me, like, what would you get tattooed on your body? And I was like, I would get the salamander from Mega. And he was like, whoa, I didn't know art could be this.
Yeah.
Art right now in comics, thank you. Just thank you. But yeah, I think Slumber is a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. I definitely think this is a book that you should be reading. It's just one of those Image books where you're like, yeah, this is just done by a team of people who know how to make a good comic. And it's a lot of fun, and I think it's going to lead towards some really awesome stuff. Also, I like how they do the kind of Monsters, Inc.-esque doorway to get into the dreams. That's a ton of fun to me.
I love that. And I love that she did the whole explanation of all the rules in the first issue, and then in this issue, she starts to do her little explanation again, and they're like, just don't.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I love that. I love that you're like... It's to the reader, really, like, hey, we're not going to make you listen to it every time, but at the same time, you get the joke. You're in on the joke at the same time, because you know how bad that list of rules and explanation was. So I love that it's like, hey, we're all in the joke now. Like, and it's nice to draw that back and, like, make you feel, like, included in it. Because it does put you more into the story, and Slumber has been so good, and that's another one that a couple of people have like picked up that number 1, going like, what is this, and like saw that art and were like, just subscribe me, like whatever this is, I'm gonna buy it because the art's crazy and I want to go wherever this is going, and the concepts in comics we were talking about art. The concepts and the writing is also like this next level right now for comic books. It's just a great time to be a comic book fan.
Yes.
And we thank you, all of the ones who are making these comics, because it's such a good time. Speaking of great time to be a comic book fan, Crimson Cage, number 505 from AWA Upshot. We talked about how Animal Castle is a sequel to Animal Farm. This is an adaptation of Macbeth told through amateur wrestling.
Yes. What more could you want?
I don't know. I don't know. And I love talking to people about it. I was reading this today, and one of our customers was in here, and I was reading it at the counter. And he was like, oh, you've talked about this one before. Like, what was it about this? And I was like, it's Macbeth told through wrestling. But again, like, when people laugh, I'm like, but really, like, wrestling is kind of the Shakespearean theater of the modern world.
It is.
And I really want to know if this creative team, like, was sitting there thinking that and talking about it and having, like, some deep conversation around it, and that's what led to this idea. Or if they literally were like, we need a concept for a comic, let's take... and, like, pulled a thing out of a hat, like, wrestling and Shakespeare, all right. Like, because this could go either way. But this story has been so incredibly good. This is definitely one of those AWA books that we're not going to see a volume 2 out of. Like, I think this is completely wrapped up. We saw all of the prophecies, you know, coming to fruition in some way, that the Weird Sisters and the Fates, whatever your view of the Macbeth witches is, we saw their prophecies in the first issue, and we've seen them all kind of come into fruition. So I don't think we'll see a volume 2, and I don't think we need one. If you've ever watched wrestling, you're gonna love this book. If you like Shakespeare, you need to read this book. And if you're just like, I kind of want just a good story and none of those things mean anything to me, you're still gonna enjoy this book because it's actually just a really well told story. Yeah,
and Alex McCormick on art, I just, like, it's great. It's a lot of, especially if you're loving the, like, black, white, and red books that are coming out, like, you'll enjoy aspects of this. But, yeah, I mean, come on. Macbeth is, you know, it's Macbeth. It's a little outdated. So why not outdate it some more with 80s wrestling? Like, it's, you know, exactly what you would want. But yeah, and now that it's over, you know, you can come in and read all of it in one fell swoop.
Absolutely. And again, it's an AWA Upshot book, so in about a month we'll have a trade that'll be $10. So if you're like, I don't know if I want to jump into all 5 issues for, you know, cover price, well, wait a month and you can get a trade for $9.99.
Yeah.
I did tell Josh earlier today when we were running the counter at the store, that my one disappointment with the book is that there was never a point where any of the wrestling uniforms got stained, and we didn't hear anybody yell, like, out damn spot towards the stain on a wrestling thing. I was like, I just wanted at one point for her to be like, oh, this damn spot won't come out, and that would have been enough for me. I just needed that, like, little, like, throwback. But there is in this issue a moment where she's just, the wife of the wrestler is just sitting there, like, freaking out about the blood, and I was like, oh man, here we go, like, this is that moment, like, Lady Macbeth has lost her shit, and I can't wait to see where this goes, and it goes lots of places. Speaking of endings from AWA Upshot, Knighted issue 5 of 5. This is one that we could get another volume out of, honestly, but Knighted is one of those Batman books being done by Indie Comics, and that's doing a really great job of doing a Batman-style book. This is like if you mix Batman with Tim Allen's The Santa Claus. And I know that sounds really ridiculous, but that's literally what it is, because in the first issue, we've got, like, our lovable loser who, like, he works at the police station, but he's, like, the crime analyst, and his girlfriend is the police chief's, like, daughter, and she hates him. And she's like, you're not good enough for me. Here are all the ways you could be better. Like, don't, you know, you need to just work on yourself, kind of thing. And he's just working essentially so that he can help pay for his nephew's cancer treatments. And while he's walking home, he tries to stop somebody from getting attacked, just like kind of, and ends up accidentally causing the local superhero, the Knight, to die. And it really is like the Santa Claus. Like, the Knight, like, falls down and, like, he's like, oh, now you have to, like, he hears somebody say, like, you have to put on the suit. He puts on the suit, and now he is the Knight. Except you don't get, like, the superpower. It's not like the Santa Claus where he suddenly, like, gets the beard and gets all the stuff. Like, he doesn't actually get any of the special powers. He just has the suit, and he has, like, the Lucius Fox kind of, like, talking him through it, or Alfred, or however you want to, like, you know, whichever Batman guide you prefer. And he's just like, I don't really want to do this, but the guy's like, well, you have to, because you screwed everybody. You killed the hero. And so it's kind of his journey of self-discovery through becoming this hero, and whether or not, and he only has to do this one mission And so we are seeing this one mission kind of come to fruition at the end of this. But of course, that's why it's like this could easily become more volumes, because we can, we can see it become more mini-series about him being a superhero or somebody else becoming the knight. Because it is a Santa Claus kind of thing. Anybody puts on the suit, they can become the knight. So it's a really cool concept for how you would become a superhero. But you do get this really great reluctant hero who's just a crime analyst, so he's not, and he has no superpowers, so he's not necessarily like the best person for the job, but he does have the heart, which the previous superhero did not. So it makes for a really good story. If you didn't read it, grab it, check it out. Again, AWA Upshot, so in about a month or so, you're going to have a 9.9, or less, I should say, you're going to have a 9.99 trade, so you can check it out.
Yeah. And also, writers out there, if you are an indie creator who was like, I've always wanted to do a Batman story, but I don't work at DC, do it anyway. And just change the name of your character, and more than likely, we will enjoy it.
We probably will.
And the whole time we'll be like, this would make for a great Batman story.
We may actually even like it better than Batman stories, because who knows? We've got some books coming to some more books coming to an end this week that aren't from AWA Upshot, though. This is the end, at least of this volume, of We Don't Kill Spiders from Black Caravan. So this is issue 4. If you don't know Black Caravan, it is essentially Joseph Smalley's imprint at Scout. Let's just call it what it is. But it is the darker, more mature stories from Scout Comics. And actually, it is getting its own category in the previous catalogs and stuff.
That's awesome.
It will actually be that. And if you look at there is another Black Caravan book that we're going to talk about later, and it actually does list like Black Caravan separately, and it says like Joseph Smalley like editor, and then it has Scout like underneath that, and all the like titles of all the Scout people. So it really is Joseph Smalley's imprint ad.
Yeah.
See, there's there. Yeah, co-publisher, like the co-publisher of Black Caravan is now officially, it is like Joseph Smalley's thing. Anyway.
Congratulations, Joseph.
Yeah.
You deserve it.
You do.
You definitely. The amount of money that you've put in Scout's pocket.
It's so true.
Good for you.
So very true. If you did not read We Don't Kill Spiders, I don't know if you're caught up.
I am not.
It is basically the story of, because we have our themes each year, and this started last year, so this is our Berserker theme book. And Berserker and Witchcraft. But this is a retired Berserker in the Viking world is now working as a detective, and there is a Viking community who has a bunch of murders happening, and they need to figure out what it is, and they ask him to team up with the local necromancy witch to figure it out, and they go on. They think she's the killer, so they actually want him to investigate her. She ends up becoming his partner, and they work together to solve who is actually doing the murders and figure out how to do it. And honestly, like, issue 2 or 3, when she goes into, like, her god world of the god that she follows for her magic, which is, like, the Spider Queen, she goes into that world, and it is some of the best, most awesome art, like, Joseph Smalley's done. It's so cool. It's great. I love this story. This is like my Smalley book. I know everybody has like Phantom Star Killer or this and that. This is the one that I'm always like, yay, it's here. So I'm kind of sad that it's over.
That was Cherry Blackbird for me.
Yeah.
That will always forever be my favorite Joseph Smalley book.
That's fair.
It was just so good.
That's fair.
Electric Black.
Electric Black is it. I mean, there's literally, you could put
every single Joseph Smalley book.
There's a reason his name is now listed as the publisher of the Black Caravan. But yeah, oh my gosh, yeah, Electric Black, Dark Caravan, which is where Black Caravan comes from. Mm-hmm. This is a combination of those two books. Phantom Star Killer, Count Draco, Cherry Blackbird, We Don't Kill Spiders. There's just an incredible lineup that this man keeps putting out, and I can't wait to see what comes next.
He's not done. This is the beginning. And it's great, too, because, now that he has his own imprint, he can start bringing in, artists that he knows that are very talented. So, I love this. Give anyone who has, like, clearly figured out their shit, give them the imprint and be like, hey, we found you. Show us who you know. Show us who you know. And, if it's Joseph Smalley, 100% trust in that man. So.
I think we'll get another volume of We Don't Kill Spiders. It's very open-ended. And I think they kind of say, like, more to come, essentially. But also, if you were a fan of Barbaric and you didn't read We Don't Kill Spiders, you need to read it. Because Barbaric was, like, the comedy version of just, like... Mm-hmm. It's like, that was the comedy version. Keanu's Berserker is the action version. And this is kind of, like, your slower-moving, like... drama almost of it. Yeah. So you kind of get all three like spectrums in there. This is my like awesome. I love it. It's so great. Wrapping up from Image Comics is The Good Asian. This is issue 10 of 10. Do you want to give a quick rundown of what The Good Asian was about? Do you want me to do it?
It is it's a classic noir told in the 1930s. And it ties in a lot with Asian culture and how Asians were treated in America in this time. It is a very beautiful book.
Absolutely.
Easily an Eisner Award winner, in my opinion.
And I think we'll see that. If this book doesn't get nominated for an Eisner, I will be completely and totally shocked. It's got great art. It's got great storytelling. I do love that they like to include some of the not only historical elements into the story, but also then they have historical reference points and articles at the back, so you can get more information. If you're like, well, why is this in this book? Well, here it is. And I like that this creative team was like, we haven't had... We have all these stories from the 1930s and all these noir films that used Asian characters, but they actually couldn't have done the things they do in those movies, and they wouldn't be treated the way they are in those movies because there was such hostility towards Asians. And I don't know if you got to read this, Annie, because I think you're behind.
I'm a few issues behind.
But they talk about how after the point of like where this book ends, like they mentioned that there was a new act that came in that allowed more Asian people to immigrate to America, and it was only 105 people could immigrate.
Oh my gosh.
Like it was like you could not, like the numbers were so low.
Yeah.
And then how it took like years and years more, and so it's such an interesting story because they do add those elements, because that's like in the comic. That wasn't one of those articles at the back. That's actually just like a part of the storytelling in the comic.
Right.
And so it's really cool how they managed to put all those things in there, and you are learning, but you also are just getting this like classic detective noir story all at the same time.
Yeah, I don't want to give too much away, because I like, if any of the books that are on the shelf, I would put this up there. Like, if you want really good storytelling, like if you're reading Animal Castle and you're like, gosh, this rivals classic literature, I think this is one of the next best places to go after that. And now that it's wrapped up, you can sit down and read it in one quick fell swoop. Obviously, Image Comics is going to just do hardcovers for everything, I think, now. So that's an easy pickup for me.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
We got a couple of number ones that we're going to run through. So up first is Quad, and this is Sally's story. Now, Quad is an ongoing series of one-shots that all take place in the same futuristic dystopian world. And this is Sally's story.
Yes.
Sort of.
Kind of, sort of.
It's named Sally.
Yes, it's called Sally, but it actually follows Captain Lucas, who is traveling the distant planets, and he is on a mission technically it's a side mission.
Yes.
To go check out this beacon of a crashed ship.
Can we just pause for a second?
Sure.
If you are a space person and you are traveling and you hear a beacon of a crashed ship, can we just establish that it is a terrible idea to go there?
Yes.
Like, nothing in the history of media has ever led us to believe that it is a good idea to go after crashed beacon ships.
Very true.
Just saying. Okay, proceed.
Very true.
Proceed.
And that's how it goes. He goes down and checks it out, and things aren't. They don't go well for him. Well, they don't go well, but he comes out on top. This is, we keep saying every time Quad comes out, I'm like, okay, you have so many great. The 3 previous issues have all been really great. And so I kind of set each issue to very high standards because I'm like, I don't know what to expect each time. And I gotta say, this book
It always hits it. It always hits.
Did it again.
Yeah.
No question.
This is one of those things that is a reminder that Behemoth is at the top of their game right now, and you need to be paying attention to what they're doing. Because everything Behemoth puts out has just hit. It's hitting. And this one, I was like, ooh, I always go in and I'm like, all right, well, first of all, like, let's take Trent off the table. Because, you know, the Trent story from Quad was like, just absolutely, it was issue 2. It was absolute, like, that's the best one. Yes. Where you're not going to top it. But where are you going to fall in the ranking underneath that? And this was another one where I was like, they can't all be good. And yet they continuously find a weird, random way to tell me a different story in this universe. And it's good. And I don't know if you noticed, but at the back of the book, it did say we're going to go back to Terra.
Interesting.
So we are going to see some more of we're going to see like this next round, and those stories are going to continue. And I do believe that they're probably going to connect in some way at some point.
Okay.
But I don't know that for sure. I just believe in my heart that there's like a point to why they picked the characters they did, and maybe they'll connect. But it did say we are going to be going back to Terra's story, and we're going to see her next arc in the next issue. And that was issue 1. Right. So we're going to go back to the character from issue 1, which, you know, I'm here for it. Let's see where we go.
I definitely am. I think every issue so far it's just continued to impress me. It's one of those where I'm like, is that other shoe going to drop? I mean, is this just going to end up, falling off and not being great? But again, I really like this character. I think the art is fantastic. I love the black and white. Mm-hmm. I think it's drawn very well. Yeah, definitely pick this one up. And the great thing is you can pick this up. You don't have to read any of the other ones. But I highly recommend that you read all of them. Yeah,
I recommend them all. I agree, though. If you want to if you're like, I'm a big fan of Alien or Prometheus or Bountiful Garden from Madcave, like anything that's got that, like, person, like, out in space, like, dealing with this lost ship beacon kind of thing, this is going to be that book. And it's just that gruffy, like, captain who's like, well, this is what we're going to do, and then not paying off the way he thinks it will. And I do love, and I reference Prometheus because it's specifically like, and Alien because you do get your like android like partner in the situation, and you do kind of have that moment. So, I definitely feel like you should check this one out if you enjoy any of those things.
Yes. And again, I just want to reiterate, Behemoth.
Buy Behemoth books, read Behemoth books, enjoy Behemoth books. That should just be their catchphrase.
Slow down, Behemoth. You're making everyone else look bad. Which is also not true because everyone's doing fantastic right now. I'm like, because Ablaze and Sourcepoint and Aftershock and Boom, like they're all like, this is just a great time to be a comic fan. I can't. Everyone is winning right now.
Right, and if you didn't catch it, read indie books is what we're saying. Like the big 2 are great, but you know that. So that's why we're telling you about the indie books. This way we're always going to tell you about the indie books. We don't spend as much time talking about big 2 because you already have your favorite characters. You know why you love those. We are going to talk about a couple of them. One even made it into my pick of the week this week. But we're mostly going to focus on indie books here because you got to know about these cool things. Speaking of, Dark Horse has a new title. This is The Collector, and it's Unit 731.
Yes.
We looked it up today because we were like, ooh, is this subtitled because there was a previous Collector series? We couldn't find a previous Collector series. Okay. So if you're jumping in and you're like, oh, I don't know, like, you don't know if there was a previous series, it doesn't look like there was, but I could be 1,000% wrong on that, so don't quote me. You don't need to know either way to read the book, though.
Right. Yeah, this was a very interesting book. I didn't really know what to expect, and I'm very grateful that I read this little beginning blurb. There's a little blurb at the beginning of the book on the first page. I highly recommend you read it because it kind of
every time.
Yeah, but sometimes, like there was that book last week where I completely skipped over it, the Vanity.
Yeah.
Well, I skipped over.
Oh, that's fair. That we got to talk about that font.
Yeah. However, this is done in a very nice, Times New Roman style font. real easy to read. And yeah, this is about, essentially the overarching story of this is going to be about a guy who is immortal.
Seems like it.
And basically is just like cataloging and collecting information about the world over the centuries. And this puts us into World War II. And it is a story about being at a concentration camp. Or no, more so a prison.
Prison camp.
I'd say a prison camp in Japan. And it is about kind of one of the darker sides of war back in the day, which was experimentation to figure out how to beat your enemies with something other than a bullet. And mostly like toxic warfare, you know, a lot of that kind of stuff. This is a dark issue for me. I thought this was very dark because I know, like, I was sitting here the whole time reading this thinking just like, people experience this at one point in time. And it kind of sucks because it's about this prison camp who's decided that they are going to kind of do a study on these prisoners and determine like the effects of you know, hitting them with I forget what they use in this book.
One of the plagues.
Yeah, they're using one of the plagues. I don't remember exactly which one. The pneumonic plague. So they're going to use the pneumonic plague. And they're going to test it out on these prisoners to find out how they react to it, how they can weaponize it. And it's a very interesting story. It
is. I think it's well written. I was talking about this earlier. I was like, I think it's a really well written book. It's not a horror book. Like, the cover shows, like, kind of makes you feel like it's going to be horror. No. My only thing that I was like, I'm kind of hesitant about this book is I think that in the social-political climate we're in, it was really hard to read a book that talked about like Asian people using a virus as a weapon. Because there was so much in the last couple of years of people thinking that that was a thing that was with what COVID was, which it wasn't. But that was a huge thing, and we saw so much Asian, like, a hatred towards the Asian community because people thought they had weaponized a virus to attack people. And so I was like, I don't really know how I feel about the fact that that book is coming out right now, like in the midst of all of that, because we do have so much hate going towards this community for it. So I was like, I'm kind of curious to see where this book goes, like, in general, and I think it's well written, but I was also like, the other side of me is like, maybe this wasn't the best time to put that book out. Like, we could have waited some time.
I didn't even think about that. I was just sitting here being like, wow, I don't know if this is the story I want to read. I thought this was going to be maybe more like Quantum Leap. I thought it was going to be
a horror version of Quantum Leap.
Yeah, which I was kind of on board for, and then it just got a little too real world for me, and I was like, oof.
It is a very real world story. If you are into like those war stories and like how like things like actual true stories about war, you do kind of get that in this first issue. I don't know that it'll stay that way though.
No.
Because we do have a time traveler and we do have an immortal person who may or may not be inflicted with this virus. And so I think that the story is going to shift. This is one of those books that I'm curious to see what issue 2 does to the storytelling, because it looks like they're trying to present it as a horror. It's a Dark Horse book, so we very rarely see like real world specific stories coming from Dark Horse. That said, we did have a package delivery service, so they are on kind of a war kick right now.
True.
So it could be that this is another war elemental book from Dark Horse, but we usually see a lot more fantasy come from them.
Right.
And so I don't know. I'm kind of curious to see what issue 2 does, in which direction it's actually going to follow.
Right.
Because I am interested on where that goes.
Yeah, I'm a little intrigued as well. I don't know. This may require up to 3 issues for me to really figure this out. Because I don't know if it's going to be like miniseries, maybe.
Right.
You know, like Unit 731 is the prison camp one, and then after 4 issues, kind of like a Hellboy style, where it's like, here's a 4-issue story, then we'll move on. And they're kind of sort of slightly connected. There's no real...
Like, it's just going to be him at different times.
Yeah, and it's like, he may start here in the 40s and then go back, to the 1600s. I mean, there's so many opportunities that they can do with this. So I'll be curious to see how it plays out.
Yeah.
Because the overarching aspect of it, the immortal kind of collector, it's I like that concept.
And I like that it's a collector of information and not of things.
Yes.
That was what got me intrigued by the concept, because we have all these collectors who are like, oh, I go back and I like, we even had Marjorie Finnegan, who was just a time traveling like thief. And we get a lot of that, of time traveling thieves and people trying to get things. I was kind of glad that this was somebody who was just trying to collect information about what actually had in those time periods. And so I'm curious to see what we do get from him if we do see more stories. Like you said, it's Dark Horse. It's going to be a miniseries. Mm-hmm. I just want to see what we do with that.
Yeah, and I'm kind of 50-50 on it, but,
But that's where you get the Shann rule of 3. You got to read 3 and see where it goes.
Yeah. Well, in this case, you may have to read 4, because then
it might just be 4.
You've read the whole arc. If you're going to stop at 3, that makes no sense.
Not at Dark Horse.
Just finish it.
Yeah, at Dark Horse, you might as well just read the whole thing.
Yeah, just finish it.
Last up for our new number 1s in our hot new titles is Source Point Press has Corollary out. This is, like I said, in issue 1, all new story, fun story. What do you got for me, Phil?
Yeah, so this is a kind of futuristic sci-fi book, and set in the cosmos, and it is in a world where everything kind of happens in twos. Mm-hmm. Everything, it's like they're like a twin universe, and one of the things is if you have a twin, when your twin dies, you are supposed to die as well. And we actually get this main character where her sister died, but she didn't. Mm-hmm. And she is kind of somebody who traverses the galaxy and is being asked by different people to kind of share her information of like, okay, you're this anomaly and we want to study you. Like there's even one, like there's a little bit of montage where she goes through and she has all these different offers.
That's like my favorite part.
Yeah.
I loved all the different offers she had and how she's like, pass.
Yeah,
pass.
And like even one of them was like, we want to bring you here and experiment on your body. Like we want to cut you open and figure out why you're different from us. And so you kind of get a little bit of her backstory here as they're setting her character up. And I mean, I enjoy this book. I'm going to be honest. I think the colors and the art style is really great. And there's some dialogue between the main character and some unseen other person.
It's like the ship.
Yeah.
Essentially, it's like the navigation comm person. You know, when you have the space things, they're always talking to their ship all the time. And I think that's what we're talking to is kind of the ship, essentially. Yeah. The ship's intellect.
And so, it's kind of one of those like, hey, what's going on behind the scenes here? But also kind of introducing us to this character who I think is really fun. Yeah. Also, she's kind of like that, like quirky, and kind of a smartass.
She's definitely a smartass. I like her. She gets her shit done. She's like aggressive, but not all at the same time. She's quirky, but she's kind of straightforward. It's somebody, like, we do see that in this, like, Gemini kind of twin-esque thing where she kind of has a little bit of, like, both personalities. Like, she's kind of a smartass, but she's also like, okay, maybe we should take this seriously in this moment. And she's got her good business head on her shoulders of where am I I'm going to get all of my stuff and then we'll talk. And I love that even when she does, like, pick a place to go, she's like, okay, well, where's all the stuff I asked for? Right. Like, did you fulfill that? Okay, now I'll talk. And they're like, well, we want to hear your speech. And she's like, whoa, like, I'm going to get my stuff first. Why are we getting right to it? I also like that it's done in pastels and it looks like watercolor paint. Like it
definitely does.
And not like, oh, I'm a watercolor, like a watercolorist doing like a great thing. But it almost looks like when you do those, like, the coloring book, the watercolor, like paint by numbers, like kind of books where you're doing it on your own. Like you get that level of like the texture on the paper, but you can definitely see, I think it's on the page that you're on, when you look at like the way the clouds are done in space, like over here, you can see that it is 100% watercolor.
Right. Oh yeah, definitely. And it just adds layers to this book.
Mm-hmm.
Also, there is... I'm not going to go any further.
Nope, you can't.
There are also space dinosaurs.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not gonna lie. This was almost the pick of the week for me because I put it
got
at
really
the end
close.
because I figured we
close.
were both probably about there. But this was one of those books where I was like, I'm gonna be so into this book, like by issue 2. Like
Yes.
I'm probably gonna be like,
It'll be a pick of the week the
next month,
yeah.
like when the second issue comes out. Yeah, and it kind of like it had a little bit of that. Oh my god, what was the Russian, the girl that was the Russian spy, like her living out the Russian fairy tales, but she was like trying to avenge her
Crimson
dad.
Flower.
Crimson Flower. Like it kind of had a little bit of that feel, but then with that like space, like funny and stuff. But it just kind of has this like the young girl on her own, like oh, I'm kind of a badass, but I'm also like dealing with some shit at the same time.
Yeah, this is gonna hit me in the feels.
Oh, for sure.
In a lot of good ways. I think this is gonna be a ton of fun.
I'm very excited.
And again, with the watercolor aspect, like beautiful to look at, very beautiful to look at.
Yes, absolutely. That's our hot new titles. We are going to switch over to our picks of the week. We are winding down our weekend, and we've got some good picks of the week this week. If you follow me on Instagram, Small Press Shann, I always give you a teaser of what the picks of the week are going to include the day of. And for me, I never thought that this was going to be there, but I'm going to say it. DC is doing an Earth Prime series right now.
Whoa.
It's a 6-issue limited series, and it's all based on the CW verse. So the first one was the Batwoman, starring the new Batwoman. And this one is a Lois and Clark, like Superman and Lois, based off the Superman and Lois show. So they actually have the 2 sons in this book, and
awesome.
There's 3 stories in it, in this particular one. And the first story made me cry because it's so great. It is Superman and Lois, and they're about to celebrate their wedding anniversary, and they're going to celebrate it 4 days after their actual wedding anniversary. And the kids are like, well, that's so weird of y'all. Why do you celebrate your wedding anniversary 4 days late every year? And they go back and they're telling the kids the story of the first wedding anniversary that they celebrated. And on it, it's the first day, like they wake up on their anniversary and Clark's got flowers for Lois and he's all excited. And she's like, they go to work together because, they work at the Daily Planet at work. And when they're about to go their separate ways, she's like, don't forget we have that reservation tonight. And he's like, nothing in this world would stop me from being there. And then, of course, Superman business comes up.
Right.
And so he, the next morning, brings more flowers and is like, hey, like I got you this. And literally at one point, he even, brings her a burrito from his favorite burrito restaurant in another, country. And or another state. And she's that's wonderful. He's like, hey, what would make this better? The fact that I brought flowers or a burrito? And she's like, are these the burritos from that favorite spot that you have in this place? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, definitely the burrito. And I'm like, I love this relationship so much.
I also just want to say that we have been praising and giving a lot of credit to a lot of people, and Matt decides to use the clapping thing the first time for someone who goes across the world to get a burrito.
It's Burrito Sunday in our lives, so that's not surprising. You get more applause, yes. So they keep trying, the second day, they try to go for their dinner, Lois gets stuck, fixing the presses because the press literally breaks and she goes to fix it. And then, the third day, Clark misses it because of Superman stuff. And the whole time, they're also, on their way to work, they're helping each other solve their problems. She's helping him with Superman business. He's helping her with, her investigation. And keeps going back and forth. And so finally, on the 4th day, they both show up. And the restaurant's closed by the time they get there. They both miss it, but they both show up at the same time. And she's like, I really was looking forward to that Hawaiian, dish that they have. And Clark's like, I know a place that has that's still open. And flies Lois to Hawaii. And so it's this whole thing, that's why they celebrate there. And, goes through the whole thing. And it was really... for me, it was great because it was a perfect reflection of my life with Matt, where we're constantly we're both so busy and we're going to do this really great, amazing romantic thing today. And then it's it's 4:00 in the morning and we're like, oh, we're still working on this project over here. Or like, he's like, oh, I've been pressing books. And I'm like, I have to go to this school today. Like, we can't do this thing. And it's like, we constantly like are missing and yet also working together on everything. And it's like this beautiful thing. They have this great conversation in there that I feel like we have all the time. The second story is Clark, hoping that he has made, Jonathan Kent proud, because he talks about the way his dad used to read the newspaper every morning and how it inspired. He would have conversations with his dad about like what honest integrity, like person, like a person who has honesty and integrity in their lives, and how he wanted him to just be a good person. And he's like, I hope that he sees that, and he like has his first byline. It's like supposed to be like when Clark does his first story for the Daily Planet, and he's like, I just want to read the newspaper with my dad. And I was like, why is this book just so so full of tears? Yeah. Like everything, and that's my Superman. Like, my Superman is Clark Kent. He's the guy who's a good husband, who's a good father, who's a good son, who's a good, like, person. You do get a story at the end that is more of, like, the Action Comics kind of story, where it's like, hey, this is how we have a battle, and we fight things, and this is, like, what if Superman had never had the Kents as his parents, right, and he only was Kal-El, and he fought, and I was like, this is the opposite. This is a Superman I don't ever want. Yep. I always want that heartfelt Superman who just tells me all these stories about being a good person, and it's all about like how he wants to help the world through compassion and love. And I'm like, that's my Superman. And just to get 2 stories like that, I was like, oh, well, now this is a pick of the week because I'm crying. Every week I feel like there's one book that I'm like, and this is the book that made me cry. And so therefore it's a pick of the week, but also I hate it.
Have you watched the TV show yet? Superman?
I have not. I've heard it was really good, but I have not actually seen it.
I was really impressed with it. I mean, I will say that I'm slightly always kind of biased for the CW shows because CW's been in my life for so long. Absolutely. But it was one of those where somebody was in here one day talking about how great it was, and they were like, yeah, I can't stop watching Superman and Lois. And I was like, all right, you know what? This guy's talking so highly of it. I'll go home and watch it. And I started watching it. I was like, it's really good. I'm actually really enjoying this series.
It's the one that makes me sad that I don't ever have an hour to sit down and watch something. Yeah. Because I feel like I would want to watch it because it does kind of go in that Super Sons direction, and it's kind of building that same relation, that Peter Tomasi kind of world. Yes. And so I want to watch it because Peter Tomasi's Superman is so beautiful. But I don't have an hour ever to sit down and watch things, and I really wish I could, because that's on the list. I feel like Captain America at this point, like after he comes out of the ice, where he just has a notebook and he's like writing stuff down that he missed out on. Yeah. I feel like running a comic book store and doing all the things that we do, that I've basically come to the point where I'm Captain America, and when people come in, I just write it down, like someday I'll get to that.
Yeah. I'll add it to the list. I am shocked to see that there was a DC book in your pick of the weeks, but I'm glad because it's a great show.
Yeah, and I'm going to give you this one because I know this was one of your picks of the week. Yes. Shocking to nobody, from Behemoth.
Wait, hold on, time out. And it is Sebastian Perez art.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I was sitting here thinking, the art in this book is fantastic. It's Sebastian Perez. Of course.
There you go. Dark Beach #1.
Yes, Dark Beach #1. I feel like we've had this story before. It is a futuristic world where the sun ain't around no more.
Yeah.
Yeah, sun's gone, and we are following I don't really know what he is yet. I haven't really, we don't really know, but he shows up to a murder scene and takes some pictures and runs off.
Yeah.
And is kind of following this murder, kind of another whodunit. And there's a lot of secrets behind it as he's going along. He's kind of telling you that maybe he's connected to it, but we don't really know what to degree. While we also get a chance to really kind of see the world without a sun, and how people have adapted to that. There's a dark underground part of the world where there's like fake sunlight, and possibly people have somehow found a way to imitate it or recreate it. So you're getting two really wonderful things opening up here. This a murder mystery, which I feel like every book we've talked about tonight, we kind of say there's a lot of these going around.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a lot of whodunits right now, and I'm perfectly okay with that because I always
Absolutely.
love, you know, a good murder mystery, and maybe hopefully we will also get that end scene where he's like, "Let me tell you who the killer is." Because that's one of my favorite cinematic moments.
I love those moments. Yeah. I love the breakdown.
I do too. And they walk you through everything, you know, and they're like, oh, here's the clues that we showed you, but you didn't catch them, but this guy did. And so I think this is a really great book. I'm going to add even more because it is Sebastian Peru's art, and I will always and forever talk about how great his art is. But I think this is going to be a fun book. And of course, the end of this issue leaves with the cliffhanger, and you're like, oh, here we go. It's time to untangle this web.
Honestly, more so than the sun not being there anymore, I was interested, because that's the thing we don't talk about when all these books talk about how the sun is gone. We also forget that means that the moon is gone, because you don't have the light of the moon without the sun, and we don't ever really talk about that in these books. And what's interesting is that he does live at a beach, but there's no natural tide. There's no actual water because there's no moon. So there's no, like they don't, or if the water is dried up or whatever it is, but they're like, there hasn't actually been, so it's like, I don't know if the moon is gone completely or if just the light of the moon is gone, because they talk about how there's no tide, but it's like, well, the moon is still technically there, you just can't see it. Yeah. So it's like, did the water dry up too? Like, are we out of water? Because we're not talking about the lack of water. They just kind of make a reference to how, like, the beach, like, is now, like, man-made, and I'm like, but it's not the light of the moon that causes the tide and the oceans to turn. So did the oceans dry up? So now I'm like really invested in, like, this book better tell me all the rest of the science and all the stuff that's gone, because I'm invested in that part of it, and I really want to know, like, oh, was that just like a misstep on the way we told the story, or is water gone too and we're going to end up in like a Tank Girl situation? Like, have the oceans dried up? Is water gone? Like, I want to know. And so I'm here. Yeah, the whodunit's great. But I'm also here because not only do we have this whodunit, but we've got this weird twist of, like, being in this post-apocalyptic style world almost, but without the post-apocalyptic problems. Because they, like, otherwise, like, it's almost more like Demolition Man in a lot of the ways that they're using their society than, like, you know, some of the other post-apocalyptic worlds, because, like, they do have the headsets and all this stuff, like, so I'm really curious, because we've built out a lot of stuff in one issue that we've just talked about already existing, but, like, we didn't explain it to the reader, so I'm like, ooh, is this going to unfold and we're going to learn more about the universe, or is it going to be like, these are just, like, plot devices and you're never really going to know? I don't know, I want to find out.
See, and I think we are going to find out. I think the why they gave us a lot of information about the sun not being out, I feel like this is going to be one of those, like, hey, we're going to tell a murder mystery, but at the same time, we're going to really unload, like, this world and how it operates in this time period. And I'm fully on board for that.
Fully on board.
It's kind of like the same thing of, like, when you see Blade Runner, where you're like, yeah, we're going to solve who did it, but we're also going to show you this really cool world, and you're going to get sucked into all of it.
Yeah.
And I think this book has that. So yeah, Dark Beach, again, Behemoth. You know what? I picked this book, didn't even know it was a Behemoth title at all. And now I'm sitting here thinking, of course it is.
Of course it is. Also not surprising that another pick of the week would be from Black Caravan.
Yes.
And this is actually called, like, the title on this actually says, like, Black Caravan Premiere. So this is, like, I think the first official book of the imprint, specifically, like, like Joseph Smallkey. Like, this has been very much pushed as, like, we're actually, like, a Black Caravan imprint. And this is called Cancelled, and it's issue number 1. And this book was none of the things that I thought that it was about.
It was exactly what I was expecting it to be.
Once it got started, I was like, oh, I know where this is going. Yeah. But I was like, why did I pick this book? What is it about? I'm glad I forgot, because I think it made it better not knowing at the same time. But this is the story of a man who is kind of like a Mr. Rogers, like, Bill Nye does an after-school TV special on PBS kind of thing, and they fire him because he's boring, and nobody cares about his show anymore.
The ratings are down, and its parents... He basically is like, yeah, your mom and dad don't think I'm entertaining for you anymore.
Yeah.
And they're going to replace him with a clown, because I guess clowns are going to be the next best thing.
Because Bozo the Clown was huge.
Yes.
And so they are going to replace him, and he decides he's going to get revenge.
He's going to curse them, essentially.
For the rest of eternity.
Yeah. He's like, oh, don't you worry. I'm gonna get my payback. And then, like, early on in the issue, he gets his payback, and then he's like, oh, wait a second. I'm not done. Yeah. Like, this is just a taste of, just a little sample of what I have to offer. And I really like this book because it gives you this backstory in black and white. And then it jumps to color. Because this is almost kind of like 3 small stories in one.
Yeah. And it's kind of like Scream 4, where you watch all of the different versions of Scream happen, and then like you still have a Scream movie at the end. This is essentially what they did with this movie, or this comic. Like, you kind of get like that kind of like, where are we? Like, we're going to keep seeing like it kind of unfold like throughout time.
Which is great.
Yeah.
I thought that was so fantastic.
Me too.
Where it was like, you know, them walking out of the theater and they're like, oh, what a stupid horror story. Like, this isn't like, why would any, like, they even mentioned, like, the poor writing, and you're like, oh, you're gonna get it.
Yeah, you're gonna get it so hard.
Yeah. And then also, too, you have, like, in Japan, and I love this. I love how the art style changes to kind of tell these different stories. And I kind of hope it kind of sticks this way. Like, tell us a linear story, but kind of break it up through all these different small stories. Kind of like he's kind of like reminds me of like Pennywise in a weird way.
Yeah, I can see that.
You know, like, hey, let me get these kids to do evil things for me. Because why not? This book, solid. Nailed it. Black Caravan. Hats off to you.
Yeah.
Hats off to you. This is an episode of me just praising everything that we love, because honestly, these past few weeks,
it's been a good couple. The month of April, if you didn't buy comics the month of April, you missed a lot of great stuff. Like, there has been a lot of really, really good comics coming out this month, and it's one of those months where, like, each week is kind of light, like, compared to some of the months we've had in the past. Like, April is one of those months where it's like, oh, you know, it's like, it's a smaller week. Like, it feels like every week you're like, it's a small week. But then you read the books and you're like, dude, you made your choice. You made the right choice. Yes. You picked the best books you could put out. It was like, hey, we have a limited amount of books we can put out this month. This is one of those months where we don't want to oversaturate the market. And then they pick the best. They're picking the best of all of them. It's great. I love it.
Yeah, definitely check this one out. It's going to be a ton of fun. And I kind of hope they stick to the multiple art styles.
Yeah, and it's multiple artists, too. Like, all of them. Yes. Like, they did get a different artist for each of those things.
Also, Joseph Smokey.
Try just...
Great first choice.
Yeah.
Great for... Like, if this is what you are bringing to the table...
For your imprint.
For your first imprint, where it's like, hey, this is what I can do as an editor. You came out swinging, and you hit it out of the park. I'm on board.
You did great.
100%.
Right. We're just gonna... What we're gonna tell you is that our pick of the week is Joseph Smokey.
Yes.
Always.
Well, and Behemoth, of course.
And Behemoth. Yeah. Up next, we did talk about how Wednesday was 420, and on 420, Image released The Secret History of the War on Weed.
Yes.
I'm not gonna lie. I told you this when you were reading it. I was like, I thought that this was actually, because it came out on 420, I got really excited that this was actually going to be the actual history of the war on weed, because we all know that the war on drugs is a fabricated thing in America, and it's all a lie. It's a whole big thing. So I thought that's what this was going to be. And I told you that, and you laughed, and you were like, no, this creative team would never give you the real story.
I mean, it's Gary Duggan, and Brian Posehn, who did Deadpool together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, there was never going to be a real...
And Scott Koblish.
And
Yes,
Scott Koblish
and Scott
on art,
Koblish.
yeah.
This is the Venom shirt that you got on.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Oh shit! That's why I wore this shirt.
Don't let him lie to you.
I knew.
No. Matt's got your back.
Thank you.
But...
I appreciate that. No, this is not that at all. This is a beautiful story. I'm gonna say it. It's a beautiful story.
I then described it to you when I said, now that you're going to read this, let me tell you what this is. This is, what if Arnold Schwarzenegger in the 80s made a movie where he was the person who was supposed to be fighting the war on drugs, and then he learned what weed actually was. And
yes.
That's it. That's what it is. This is Arnold Schwarzenegger's Commando meets fucking weed.
Yes, but no, but that's like a small portion of it though. And then it's like broken up a little bit with this is packed with so much wonderful stuff. Like, I can't tell you how great this book is. It was exactly what I was expecting it to be, because even like the dialogue when he's battling, he literally says at one point, let me go back, iguana blow your head off to a giant lizard.
And I love that the lizard's like, tell my people the secret to regenerating limbs is.
This is like the silliest book in the world. Because he basically decides to raid a weed farm, and then they kidnap him and introduce him to marijuana. And he realizes, hey, wait a second. Maybe violence is not the answer. Maybe we don't need to be waging wars on all these people. And it's great because he goes from being like this badass action star to like this dude at like a Grateful Dead concert.
Essentially.
And he's just like happy. I love it too because they make him smoke. They put like a mask over him, and I'm going to show you that page because the page where he's introduced to weed is so great. And it's basically like, hey, maybe you've been living your life all wrong, and maybe weed is not a bad thing. But then at the end of it, this like cosmic weeds being is like, hey, also, can I crash on your
couch?
I'm kind of in between places right now. Which is
my favorite thing.
Yes.
They have
There's
pages
activity
randomly
pages
put in throughout the book so that you can do it. And it's all like a search and find like of words about weed,
Yep.
like crosswords, like there's like a connect these people to this. Like, oh my god, it was the best. Chad says the only thing they were missing is they should have put a perforated sheet of rolling paper as the insert in the book. Yes,
that would have been a fantastic addition to this. And we may still get to see that.
To me, the best part is not only is it ridiculous, and we talked about this, not only is it a ridiculous book, but at the end, they do actually circle back to a very, very, very strong message, which I love.
Well, the thing that I really enjoyed is that it kind of transitions from this very violent, kind of 80s action movie into like, hey, maybe as a country we should stop waging all these wars. Like dead in the middle of this book, there is a really strong message of like, hey, maybe we need to kind of slow down and, maybe we should think about what really are the things that we should be fighting against in this world. And then it goes into this thing where in the third act, basically he like admits that he has been killing for the government, and instead of becoming the hero, they throw him in prison. And then the conversation moves to, well, if we're going to be legalizing weed across the board, then why the fuck are there so many people in prison right now for crimes that are now not considered crimes anymore?
Right. If you're going to make those things legal and they're not crimes, then these people shouldn't be in prison for these crimes that are no longer considered crimes.
Yes.
And I love that it becomes... it does add that in there, and it keeps the humor because while they're talking about that, he's growing weed in the toilet in his jail cell.
Yes,
and so they keep the humor, but they're like, "Hey, by the way, just while we've got your attention, these people shouldn't be in jail anymore."
Yes, and I really like that because that has always been something that like a lot of things obviously in this world upset me, but that to me is a really big one because it's like that shows me that the prison system is a very flawed system in this country. Like, if there's things that we could start working on, the prison system, all right? Let's start working on that, because it's a lot of bullshit, and I do enjoy that. There's also something really great in the back of the book here where they list some different organizations that you can look into and support who are out there trying to fight all of what's going on in prisons and saying, hey, these are, like, if you're going to legalize this and make it $1 billion corporation, then the people who were doing it beforehand, like, let them
They're
go.
not criminals, yeah.
Like, they're no longer criminals.
And you can do the maze next to it.
And you can also do the maze right next to it. This book made me laugh.
Yes.
And then at the end of it, it made me be like, yes, thank you.
We learned something.
Yes,
this was an after-school special.
Yeah. Let's put this... No, I'm just kidding.
No, don't.
Let's
don't
give
do
this
that.
to the kids out
Don't
there.
do
and their
that.
parents.
Don't do that. Chad said, I can't wait to read this. There's a weed god equivalent to Swamp Thing that crashes on his couch like Jesus in Second Coming. I need that double page spread in my house in a frame.
Same.
Yes.
100%.
Yes.
It looks great. It's a ton of fun. I also love that the main character thinks that he invented weed brownies.
Yeah, and they're like, the narrator's like,
just let
where's
him have
10-11
it. Yeah, just let him have it.
The narrator reminds me of the narrator in George of the Jungle,
Yes.
because he's
Yeah.
like so dumb, and he's just like, oh, George did his best.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Also, let's just put Brendan Fraser in whatever adaptations of everything we have ever. I'm going to hand you this.
Oh, yes.
And then we're going to move on to some other comics in stock. The first couple I'm going to talk about are definitely, before I run through them really fast, I'm going to mention these next couple in a little bit more detail than I normally do on in stocks, because I'm super excited about them. And the first one up is issue 2 of Spider-Gwen Gwenverse. If you're not reading this, you should. This is a lot of fun. I love that. We see, this is a book all about Gwen. Gwen Stacy, she's in her own dimension, but while she's trying to fight somebody, she ends up accidentally splitting herself throughout time. And so now every, like, Marvel superhero has a Gwen version throughout time. It's fantastic. It's all her different parts of her personality. So kind of how, like, on Teen Titans Go, where Raven turned into the 5 different Ravens or whatever, this is all her different personalities become different Marvel things, which I really love, because, like, her conceited part becomes Thor, and her good-heartedness becomes Captain America, and her anger becomes Wolverine, but they're all still Gwen, so it's like Wolver-Gwen, and like Thor-Gwen, and because it's kind of also Marvel being like, hey, we know we didn't actually ever get past this Spider-Gwen thing, and that's dumb, so we're just gonna call all the characters Spider-Gwen.
Great.
Also, Captain America. This is a 0 issue to the new Captain America series. This is a beautiful Mark Brooks wraparound cover. If you want to open that up and show them without cracking, that's fine. This is Sam and Steve working together, and the best part of this is that the whole time they're like, hey, who's gonna take the moniker, and who's gonna be, like, of Captain America, and who's gonna get the, like, stupid adjective in front of their name. Like, and Sam's like, I think you'd make a really great uncanny Captain America. And he's like, you don't think I'd be spectacular? And they just go through all the Marvel, like,
That's
names,
awesome.
and it's super cute. And then they just realize that they both can be Captain America, and if you don't think they're both Captain America, you're wrong.
We did a whole story about how everyone can be Captain America.
Yeah, we did a whole book about it.
Yeah, it's a whole series.
Jonna and the Impossible Monsters come back out.
Issue 9.
Issue 9.
Wow.
It's a great book. You should be reading this. It's fantastic. Nice House on the Lake, issue 8. You are reading this. You're all reading this.
It is tiny.
Speaking of books you're all reading, Ice Cream Man, issue 29? 29. I'm very excited. I can't believe we're there already.
Dang. How long do you think that's going to go for?
Forever, I hope.
Just never ending.
Never ending. Well, if you read 1 Week in the Library by W. Maxwell Prince, which is his precursor to Ice Cream Man, he literally says at the end, like, he draws himself or writes himself into the story and is like, hey, here's the deal. I actually don't know how to end a story. So here's me telling you I don't know how to make an ending to a story, and we're just going to talk about what I wanted you to get out of this, because I don't really know what you're supposed to get. So
Cool.
Ice Cream Man's probably never going to end, because W. Maxwell Prince has self-admittedly known that he doesn't know how to end a
I
story.
don't know how to end it.
And we've had 29 great issues.
29 great
29
issues.
fire issues.
Anthology. So if you're like, where do I start on Ice Cream Man? You start wherever the hell you want to. Wolverine, issue 20.
How do you feel about this one? No, I'm just kidding.
Benjamin Percy. I love Benjamin Percy. Nightwing, issue 91. Tom Taylor, he's great, and everything he does is wonderful. Avengers, issue 55. We are building up to that Avengers X-Men Eternals crossover of Judgment Day, which will be launching with the free comic book day issue. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Blue and Gold, issue 8 of 8 of the limited series about Booster Gold and Blue Beetle. That's the end. The Flash, 781. I love that this is called Bring Your Kid Flash to Work Day. That's my favorite subtitle for an issue. I love it. I love the variant where they are literally, like, just adorable. Nice. That's super cute.
It's a great one. Who's the artist on this one?
I don't know, but...
I can't say that.
Harrison?
No.
On the variant. Just on the variant.
Yeah.
It should be on the inside.
There's the little barcode on the front. If you look at the little black part, it tells you the variant.
They do tell you that on DC now.
Cisnisa?
Huh. Hulk, issue 6. Donny Cates' Hulk, issue 6. You were supposed to buy this one. If you missed it, you need to come pick it up because it's a thing. Donny told you. Buy it. Walking Dead Deluxe. It's like the first full app of Titan Hulk or whatever. Walking Dead Deluxe. This is those reprints. Hidden Planeswalker Magic. This is issue 1 of the new Magic series from Boom. The spin-off of the Magic the Gathering series. Philadelphia. We are coming to the end of Philadelphia very soon. So if you've been following along with the series, we are getting close to the end. If you haven't been following along with the series, find trades. Jump in. It's great. Girl Scout Stone Ghost, issue 6. Black Hammer Reborn, issue 11, Jeff Lemire. Armor Clads, issue 2 from Valiant. Doctor Strange has a new series out called Nexus of Nightmare. I don't know how this relates to the fact that Strange is going on with Clea, but I'll have to bring in my Marvel expert, Josh, at some point to tell you how it still sticks in continuity. Because I'm always like, how does this miniseries connect to continuity? Because I feel like that's not in continuity.
Well, now there's a multiverse.
Right, solution to everything. Wonder Woman Evolution, Stephanie Phillips writing Wonder Woman, which I love. Refrigerator Full of Heads, issue 6. This is the sequel to Basket Full of Heads. Robin's issue 6 of 6. The Robin series is over. This was your round robin choice last year from DC, which if you don't know is going on right now.
I think they just announced. Yes, I don't remember what one, but I do remember that they said that they were going to do some of them were going to be backups.
Yes. And that was a big thing I told everybody, because everybody's like, oh, I don't like that DC does that because I want all the stories. And I'm like, you're going to get all of them eventually.
Yeah, they'll give you all of them.
This is just them like, hey, we got a paper shortage. We got limited resources. Which one do you want right now? Because I only got so much room. Batman Superman World's Finest #2. That has been a surprisingly popular series so far. Batman the Knight, Chip Zdarsky's miniseries that is not his ongoing Batman run. This is not him taking over for Joshua Williamson. That has not happened yet. That comes later in the year, closer to June, July. This is a miniseries, issue 4 of 10. And this is Catwoman Lonely City, book 3. I love getting to see this like old man Catwoman, old lady Catwoman, what you would call it, kind of story. I love that we're starting to see some of these DC heroes get these, like, by now they'd actually be in their middle ages or older. What would happen if they actually were still trying to superhero/villain in those time periods? And this is Catwoman's version of that, and it's a great story.
Also, again, let's just keep this train rolling. Shout out to you, Cliff Chang.
Shout out.
Fantastic.
Always.
Fantastic. Writing and drawing.
A fantastic story.
Yes, and I feel like he has been one of those artists that has worked around very talented writers. I mean, obviously, like Brian K. Vaughan with Paper Girls. He did Wonder Woman for a bit as well. Mm-hmm. So I feel like he has been teaming up with some really talented writers. Has probably learned a thing or two where it's like, oh, this is good storytelling. Catwoman Lonely City has
been great.
Yes.
Yeah, all right. We got some trades in stock as well. We're going to start out with the most recent volume of Ice Cream Man. This is volume 7 of Ice Cream Man. Again, it's never going to end. I hope not. This is issues 25 through 28, I believe. Mm-hmm. So everything up until the issue that we just talked about. Oh man, I love that issue.
I remember the bird issue.
Sideways issue where you have to turn your book. Oh, everything that they do, they always play with the medium and Ice Cream. I love it.
It's a fun use of the medium, like a great way to, and again, it's an anthology, so walk in, pick up any random issue, and you'll be good.
Volume 1 of Nice House on the Lake, which I want to read this quote: surprising, terrifying, and wholly original. Make no mistake, this is the book of the year, which came from Damon Lindelof, the writer of Lost.
No way!
Yeah, circling that back to the very beginning. He also did the Watchmen show, if you didn't know that. And so
that's right, and that's why I was on board for Watchmen, because I remember Lost being, talked about so well. Now I know that there's a layer of hatred underneath that. But I'm very excited. I'm very excited to watch Lost.
I won't talk to you about it until after you're done, because I have a thing that is my analogy that I use for Lost that I will run the end, so I'm not going to talk to you until you're done.
Okay, so can I say something? Yes. I don't fully remember, but when Lost was coming out, I watched the first season, and then I stopped. Mm-hmm. On the night that the finale aired, they showed the finale. Before that, they did a 2-hour special leading into it, and the 2 hours was basically a recap of the whole show. So I have seen the first season, the 2-hour recap, and the finale. I don't remember the finale because mostly it was kind of convoluted by all the theories and conversations that people were having.
It's just convoluted in general.
And so I kind of vaguely think I remember the ending to the show, but everything that Nigel was saying today brought me so much joy, because he basically was saying like they kind of were very chaotic in the way that they did the show, and that every kind of thing that they introduced to the show, most of them never had like a wrap up.
Yeah.
And that excites me.
And my only thing with Lost is literally like my analogy, since you said you kind of remember the ending, is and you can take this with you while you're watching it, is I feel like watching Lost and the way Lost played out is kind of like reading Nick Spencer's Captain America. And we'll talk about that in more detail once you've finished it. But I have a lot of feelings about the way Nick Spencer sold his Captain America, and the way they sold Lost is very similar. And so for me, Nick Spencer's Captain America and Lost kind of have this same essential problem.
Interesting.
Not that either of them are necessarily bad. I will never actually praise Nick Spencer's Captain America because I don't think he should have ever been a Nazi, but that's a whole other thing. Deceased Dead Planet. Tom Taylor's Deceased. This was actually the coolest one to me because this is where we brought in Darkseid and all the cool, crazy stuff. So this got really good. Midnight Matinee Comics. This is Island of Lost Gorillas. This is from Source Point Press. The best part of this is the back, because they put on the "Let's all go to the lobby" ad, but they talk about buying your Source Point Press comics instead. This is essentially, they just took an old movie and they made a comic out of it, and they changed the story, and it's fantastic. There's even previews of coming attractions, and they made new stories on top of the previews of the coming attractions. This is great. I literally had to go back and order this for the store just because I saw somebody talking about it and was like, oh my god, I don't know how we missed this when it was in comic form, but we need it.
Yeah.
So,
this is awesome, and it's only $11.99.
Yeah,
that's all. That's interesting. I like when people do stuff like that.
It's one of those soft feeling things. This is Locust from Scout Comics, which I know a lot of people told me they were gonna wait for this to be in trade.
Good decision,
because it feels so good.
Feels so nice.
Feels so good.
That high quality paper.
Yes, this is what essentially is the whole world has become. There is a virus, like a plague kind of thing, and a bunch of people turned into giant insects, and we get kind of like a zombie world, or I can't remember the word. What's the Will Smith movie? I Am Legend. You get kind of like one of those where people have turned into this thing that's not necessarily described, but they are turning into giant locusts. And it's crazy.
Sounds terrifying.
It would be. I don't like bugs.
Me neither.
We Only Kill Each Other from Stephanie Phillips. This is the story of two warring mobster people who are chosen to kill Nazis. And it's They're like, hey, you're going to go to jail, but if you will actually kill all the Nazis who are trying to move into America pre-World War II, we'll let you go. And so it's all about how the mob kind of went against the Nazis in that pre-World War II time period. And also it's by Stephanie Phillips. So once again, it's worth reading just for that.
Yes. Also, if you were wondering why you never saw single issues of this, it was a digital series.
It was a digital series.
And I would like to see more of this. Like, once they're done,
put them in a trade.
Put them in a trade so people can read them. People who don't read digitally, because there's also a lot of really good stuff being published digitally as well.
Like Lore Olympus, which I know is coming back. The next volume is supposed to start, which also means that volume 2 is hitting stores, I believe, this summer. This is Flung Out of Space, which is the story of, and I'm going to get her name wrong if I don't actually look it up. Is it on the front?
Yeah.
Patricia Highsmith, who was a comic artist, who then, she made the Strangers on a Train, which was later adapted into a classic film by Alfred Hitchcock. She wrote that. This is all about her. It's not just about her writing. It's not about her comic work. It's not about necessarily just her writing and things. This is actually what it was like being a lesbian creator in that time period, while also coming up with some of the stories that were some of the very first lesbian focused stories and putting them out there. So I'm very excited. I have not actually read this yet, but now I'm like, I need to actually read this story because it sounds phenomenal.
Yeah, and of course the nice hardcover.
It's that nice hardcover. And look at that art. You can show that. That's beautiful.
Show this art.
I love those, the little spot color. I'm a sucker for spot color every time.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. It's something that's really caught on. And it's definitely enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Great art.
Yeah, I'm super excited about this book.
Great art. Nice hardcover. It's going to look great on your bookshelf.
A Thing Called Truth is out in trade. Woo, woo. This was a book that continuously made it into the pick of the week zone for us. Yeah. Yolanda Sandrofino story about a person who they've lost their brother and they need to go on that last adventure. It was the adventure that he had planned for himself before he died. Now his sister is living out that dream and ends up with a high-strung doctor who has just lost her job and all of her research, and they go on one of the cutest romantic comedy style adventures. If you like romantic comedies, this is the perfect book for you. It's so good. And
road trips.
Yeah.
Road trip movies.
And lastly, the trade of the week, if we were going to have trades of the week, Vinyl is finally out in trade.
Yeah.
This is the whole story, and you should just come buy it. Yeah. This is the story of a man who is a serial killer, and he has an FBI agent who has been trying to catch him for years. He considers him kind of like his best friend. FBI agent is kidnapped by a cult, and the FBI can't go in because you can't interfere with religious organizations and things like that. So their way of solving it is they send the serial killer in to try to rescue the FBI agent, and he develops his own Ocean's 11 style serial killer team to assist him. And none of that is what this book actually is about once you start reading it. So that's your plot. Or your premise, but it is not where we go from there. And again, a book that did not deserve to make me cry, and to feel the things that it did based off that premise. And yet there are scenes in there where it's just absolutely incredibly beautiful.
Yeah.
And you would never have guessed that that's where this was going. Honestly, I hope this gets an Eisner nod too, because it's such a good fucking
I would love to see that. I would definitely love to see that. It may. You never know. It's kind of tough with all these really amazing books. But yeah, if you missed Vinyl that first time around, definitely pick it up.
And I think they just announced a new book coming from him. And I already forgot.
Same team?
I don't know if it's the same team, but it is Wagner for sure. And cool. They just talked about it, and I already forgot what it was, but it's in the newest. It was in the previous catalog when I did my order, and I already forgot which book it was because I went through 7,000 books. Yeah. So, but they do have another book coming, and I'm very excited to see more from him at least.
Yeah, definitely.
I know you're a big fan of Plastic.
Yeah, Plastic was a great series, 5 issues. But basically, kind of like the John Wick style of like, hey, someone took something from me, so I'm gonna kill everyone in my path to get it back. And what he is trying to get back is a blow-up doll.
Yes, that sounds amazing. That's exactly what I would fight for. If somebody stole a toy from me, let's just be honest, like, that's where I'm gonna go. Yeah. All right, that's all of our trades, that's all our in-stocks, it's our picks of the week, it's all of our hot new comics. We've got some news for you. Something really exciting that I noticed today was on my order for DC today. Fables is coming back. Fables is coming back. We are going to see it's picking up, much like Saga picked up, like right where it left off. Fables is coming back and it's going to be picking up. It is going to be issue 151.
Yeah, I was about to say, that was a long-running series.
It is a new mini-series, but it does pick, like it's a new 12-part series, but it does pick up right where Fables left off. So I was talking about how I would say at least once a week I have somebody come in and say, do you have any Fables issues? Do you have any Fables trades? I'm so excited to see this come back because there are so many people. You know, for me, like, my Fables knowledge comes from the Telltale games.
Same.
And I was like, I always wanted to go back, but there's 150 issues. It's like, where do you... Like, that's so much to go back on, and yet I'm kind of excited in the same way that I will honestly admit I've never read Sandman, which I know is crazy because I'm literally small press Shann and Neil Gaiman. It's one of those things. I know we've talked about it in the past. Like, it's one of those, like, they always say, oh, women only read Neil Gaiman comics, so I kind of try to stay away from Neil Gaiman comics. But I picked up Nightmare Country from James Tynion and was like, okay, I kind of want to see more of this world. I feel like that's what's going to happen with Fables is I'm going to read this new series to check it out, and I'm going to be like, well, now I really do have to go back to all 150 issues previously. And so expect to see the live tweets of Shannon rereading Fables and or Sandman or both coming soon because it's probably what's going to happen.
Those are 2 large tasks.
2 very large tasks, I know. But I did read all of Saga in like 2.5 days. So if I just sit there, maybe I can make this happen.
All right, so next week the store's closed all week.
While I read. Don't you think that would be great if you could just close the store and read all the books in it? That would be fantastic. Matt is nodding his head, yes. Chad says I should listen to the Audible adaptation of Sandman. It's so good. I can't listen to audiobooks. And so I feel like that would be different because it's a bunch of actors. It's not one narrator doing it. So I feel like that one I might be able to handle. But I actually cannot audiobook. Also, because my brain comes up with what they should sound like. Also,
I mean, I'm okay with that happening. I think it's a great idea. It's a great way to kind of, you know, now that like even podcasts are a very normal part of society now. So I understand the concept of it, but when you have a visual medium like that, one that's done so well, I almost feel like you're doing a disservice
to the other like 3/4 of...
Yeah, like it just doesn't seem necessary when you should just hand them the comic and be like, this is what you need.
That said, there is... James McAvoy is a voice on that, right?
Yes, but again...
Can he read it and I read the book at the same... Like, is it so accurate that they're literally reading in order that I could hold the book and, like, follow word for word?
No, I don't think
that's the case. Because if that was the case, I would be in. It still would be hard for me because, again, I like to imagine what I think they sound like and look like in my head, and I would definitely be imagining, like, James McAvoy... as James, like, because, and that's very hard to get past for me because I love James McAvoy's voice and also his appearance, and so it would be very hard to, like, imagine him as, like, whatever this character is because I would just be seeing James McAvoy in my mind, but if it is, like, word for word, line for line, I think that would be an easier way to go about it because then I could read along with them. I used to do that when I was a kid. That was when we were kids in the 80s and 90s. Chick-fil-A would do books on tape as the Happy Meal toy.
Yeah.
And I would put, I guess not Happy Meals, only McDonald's has Happy Meals, but I would put those tapes in and then I would like read a book and like follow along. And then I was that psychotic kid who then turned them into my own plays. And I, like, built sets and everything and, like, acted out, but that's a totally different thing. That is not the case at all. Speaking of adaptations, though, we talked about this possibly last week, but I know we've been talking about it all week in the story, that the Wonder Twins is getting a movie.
Well, it's a movie.
It's a movie on HBO Max. So it's going to be like a straight to HBO Max movie is what I've heard all over TikTok.
Fantastic.
And it stars KJ Apa.
Yes.
And the girl is somebody from something I didn't know.
Yeah, I was going to look
Right,
up,
I was like, I know you're going to look it up because... Oh, well, now that's just mean. Chad said that Kat Dennings is the voice of death, and now you're... Well, Kat Dennings was in it. Now you're really selling me on it on Sandman. I will do anything for Kat Dennings. What is the name of this girl?
So her name is Isabel May.
Isabel May.
And I'm trying to figure out what else she's been in.
I didn't know her name. I knew KJ Apa because he's Hot Archie. And that's what they call him on Archie. Like, on Riverdale, it's not necessarily like what I'm calling him, but it's not wrong. But...
So she is in a very popular show right now, Yellowstone.
Yellowstone, okay.
Oh, she's in the prequel series 1883.
I have not seen either of those, but I've heard of both of them.
And then she was in Alexa and Katie and Young Sheldon.
Okay, I've seen none of that, but congratulations to you for having such a portfolio already, you young person. And then I'm curious. I'm into it. I saw a TikTok video where a girl was complaining that was who they cast because KJ Apa doesn't fit her idea of a Wonder Twin, and she kept showing pictures of KJ Apa and then showing pictures of the Wonder Twins, and I was like, I mean, his hair's not naturally red. If that's where we're complaining, and even if it was, you can still dye it.
Yeah.
Emma Stone's not a natural redhead, but we've never had a problem with that either.
Yeah, honestly, I like him as an actor enough to where I'm like, yeah, I could definitely see him do that. Now, does that mean that we're gonna get sexy Wonder Twins?
Yeah, that's what I'm confused about. Cause are they gonna hot Wonder Twins it? Or we are actually gonna see cheesy kids comedy funny jokes? I need funny jokes. If you don't make the worst jokes ever, if this is not a pun-tastic experience, that's gonna be my problem. I mean, the guy literally turns into something in the shape of water.
Yes. And
thinks that's helpful. And then she turns into, an eagle and has to carry the pail. Shape of pail of water. And then she's shape of a giant eagle and has to, carry this pail of water to the problem. And I still have never actually figured out how this pail of water helps when they do get there. It never does. But, he tries. He tries his best. And that's what I want. I want to see these. And if we're going to do it, honestly, the Brian Michael Bendis Wonder Comics imprint that we had, where they were new and they were going to high school and they were trying to figure it out, and he gets in. I don't know if you read this, so if I'm telling you, where they're we're going to high school, and he gets involved with one group and she gets involved with the other. I would actually be down for that to be. It's a little more serious, but it still has the Wonder Twins humor in it.
And I think it will be the case. I think that's probably what they're going to lean more towards. Because it seems like with some of these shows that they're doing, they brought Naomi in. Mm-hmm. So I think they're kind of looking at some of these series that were popular. And they're like, hey, this is something where we can still give them that superhero attachment, but we can set it in high school. Mm-hmm. We can kind of cut down the amount of powers because you're so wrapped up in the drama. Which I'm okay with.
I'm okay with that.
That's fine.
Don't want it to be Titans Dark. I think that's the wrong direction for the Wonder Twins.
And I don't think it will. I don't think it will go that dark. I think it'll be more of just hey, this is them in a real world setting. Kind of like Archie. And the Riverdale
But Riverdale
show
was dark. It was super dark. Riverdale is super, super, super dark.
That's true.
It's not Chilling Adventures dark, but Chilling Adventures is already a dark to start with.
Right.
Chilling Adventures, the show, is actually less dark than Chilling Adventures, the comic. And so, but Riverdale is way darker than Archie comics.
That's true.
And so it's you don't need to go that. You don't even need to go Riverdale dark. You need to go, like you said, Naomi is a good thing, a good balance point. But just give me cheesy teen drama. Give me a CW level show in a movie form. But you could use that Wonder Comics imprint story, and that'd be great.
Totally.
Yeah, I'm here for it if that's what we do, and we should do that. Other things coming up. Free Comic Book Day is May 7th. Our free comic book day festivities will be from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. There may be an after event. We are going to have a stand-up comedian out doing some superhero-themed comedy. Shout out to Doug. Speaking of, we talked about burritos earlier. He has these awesome burrito for president shirts for sale in the store. He's going to be doing some comedy. We are trying to figure out if it is going to be during the event or immediately following for the content level. He's going to go through his content and give it a rating so we can figure out exactly what time he'll be performing. But there's going to be fun stuff all day long. And of course you get your free comics. So from 12 to 6, it's going to be in the backyard. Sales and other exciting things will come up. You'll see it announced on our Facebook first. If you're watching this on YouTube, that's facebook.com/comicsaustin is where you can find us, or you can search Bat City Comic Professionals to find that. If you're here on Facebook, make sure you like the event, say that you're interested at least, so you can see as we add in all the fun stuff that's coming for that. Lots of local creators.
Yes. Also, it's Mother's Day weekend. So if you're looking for something fun to do with your mother, bring her here.
Bring her here. Get her some free comics. Buy her some comics from the local creators. Buy her something. There is a comic for everybody. Get your mom a copy of Bad Mother from AWA Upshot and tell her that you love all of the work that she would do to save you from human trafficking if you were sold into it.
The gift that you could give your mother this year is just show her your world. You know, hey, Mom, these are the things that I like to do. Bring her into that. A lot of people like that, you know?
You know, that is true. Moms do like to, feel like you want them around your thing.
Or a lot of the times, my mom, randomly will call me and she'll be like, hey, what's going on in your life? What are you doing? Tell me some of the things that interest you. I talked to my mom on the phone today for 45 minutes about why I love the game of baseball.
There you go.
I was telling her about new stats, players that I like. And she was just like, that's so great. And next weekend I'm taking to her baseball game.
Right.
And she's really excited to see the Braves play. So, you know.
Which is also news, before we go too much further. Phil won't be here next week, but I believe we're going to possibly have Josh as a stand-in. So if you've been in the shop any time in the past, you may have met Josh. He will probably reenact an issue of X-Men for you as if it was an episode on TV. I always call it his previously on Glee. He will be here most likely next week to try to fill Phil's shoes.
It's going to be tough.
It's going to be tough.
Also, I don't wear shoes when we do the live stream.
Neither do I. Just for the record, there are no shoes happening in this.
Yeah.
Other than that, in regards to Free Comic Book Day, we are raffling off a JLA versus Avengers with the proceeds going to the Heroes Initiative, as George Perez has asked. If you did not get a copy of Heroes Initiative, which unless you're one of the 7,000 people that did, or 697, I guess, 6,997. Math is hard.
Numbers.
Numbers. If you didn't get a copy yet, we are raffling one off. You can enter that raffle by buying tickets here in the store. You can send us a message. We can send you an invoice for it. You can buy your tickets that day. It's going to be a great way to get a copy. And of course, that money does go to, like I said, the Heroes Initiative, which helps creators, because there is no comic union. Let me keep saying that. There is no union for comic book creators. So if comic creators need something, that comes straight out of their pockets. There's no company, these companies do not have the ability to pay, insurance. You're a contract employee, so you're not getting health insurance. You're not getting, 401ks. You're not getting any of that in comics. And so Heroes Initiative helps comics creators get the help that they need in situations like that. And by entering this raffle, you are going to help us give money to Heroes Initiative to continue to support the creators that you love, who, if they're making books for you, least you can do is donate some money back and get a book out of it.
Yeah. Again, support indie creators.
Yeah.
Or support all creators, really.
Creators, because Marvel and DC doesn't give,
they don't give
that either. Yeah.
And of course, obviously do that by coming into the shop, but also a lot of them have Patreons and other things that you can do as well. Reach out to them on social media and be like, hey, what can I do to better support you? Yeah. You can reach out and be like, hey, do a commissioned sketch for me. There are things that you can do to help your creators. And this is one of them.
Absolutely.
Because all the money that we get from the raffle is going to help creators. So, one, you may get a really awesome book that not a lot of people have. And also you're helping out the community that you are a part of.
And if you want to help some local creators, come out on Free Comic Book Day and buy books directly from local creators. Yes. There's going to be a bunch of really cool ones. I believe Drew Edwards of Halloween Man was supposed to be here. I know there. Dan Price, who does Bigfoot Knows Karate, is going to be here, and he is a friend of the show. He's been on the show. We love him.
Yes.
And there's a lot of other local creators that we are in talks with to be here as well.
Potentially the creator of Tank McGregor, a book that
yes,
we have a lot
that
of
has
love
been a
for.
pick of the week. So,
yes, so you may be able to finally get a copy on Free Comic.
Yes, absolutely. The other thing, news-wise, is you're going to see an announcement coming up this week on our social medias and things, but we are going to be doing a book drive for a local high school. I went and spoke this week. One of the things we do as a part of our nonprofit is we actually teach workshops and seminars to educators on how to use comic books in their classroom, and I went to speak at a local high school this week. And I'm not going to name them just yet until I talk to them about whether or not I can. Specifically, they were working with their administration to make sure, but I went and spoke with the high school this week, and I learned that their district doesn't actually have a budget for libraries for high school and middle school students. And so they actually have they have a wall bookshelf, like one of the ones, like, the IKEA bookshelves you buy that can go across your wall. They have one of those that's about 5 cubbies, and none of them are full.
Wow.
There are probably less than 200 books for this entire high school library.
That's it?
I will show you the picture.
I don't know if I want to see that.
I personally have more books in the back room of Bat City. That said, they don't have a budget to buy books for this library. Bat City has been donating comic books to them. We gave one of the teachers a classroom set earlier in the semester, and then we just gave them 4 boxes of books this last week when I went to the conference to have the seminar, and that is actually all because of the purchases that you make here, and all of every time you tip at the register, that goes towards us buying those books. Every time you buy one of the books off the buy a book for a classroom, those books, either way, like that money or those books go towards this process, and we were able to give them 4 boxes of brand new graphic novels and trades for their high school age students. They are a Title I school, so not only do they not have a lot of funding in the first place, but they don't specifically have any funding, and so these teachers have been buying the books for this themselves. And so we are going to be running a book drive, not a comic book drive necessarily, though you can donate graphic novels or comic books as well, but from now until Free Comic Book Day, we are going to be running a book drive to get them everything, any kind of books you want to donate, because anything that doesn't work for their library, they can donate off to the middle schools who also don't have libraries, or the other schools in their district that also need books. But this is, if there's something that you would get at the library, this is the kind of thing, like if you have old books in your house that you want to donate, you're going to bring them by. There's going to be more details about this. Donate them, and we're going to be doing it all through the whole day of Free Comic Book Day. And there's going to be some great benefits for you if you bring books, like you're going to get discounts and things like that. But also you're going to help a high school, a Title I high school, an underprivileged school that doesn't have any funding for a library, to actually build a library out for their students who have no physical books right now. And I'm going to tell you, like one of the only things on their bookshelf is Twilight.
Wow.
And so we want to make sure that there's something for everybody, because the teachers, one of the teachers and I were speaking about it, and she was saying, I don't know what's a good sports book. What do I give to a football player who wants to find himself in a book? I don't know what that looks like. Right. I don't read sports books. I don't know what's going to be a book that he would enjoy. I might go out and buy a book thinking this is what sports ball looks like, and she's like, and I don't know.
Yeah.
And so we want to make sure we can get some books for this school and really build up this library for them, because they're being told that teenagers don't need books and they don't need tangible books. And in a time where so many books are getting banned and so many schools are being told things like, oh, you don't need a budget for your library, we all know that that's not true.
Yeah.
We all are comic book fans. We're all book fans. We all found ourselves in the pages of different books. I cried because of an issue of Superman, for crying out loud, this week. There's so much that impacts us and shapes who we are through books, and it's very important. So many of us, probably that was our safe space when we were kids, was going to a library, or even as adults, but especially in those middle school and teenage time periods, like going to the library was a huge impact on so many of our lives, and these kids don't actually have the library to go to, and we want to help them get the books. So keep an eye on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter for more information about how we're going to be getting some books into this school, and how you can help with that. But if you are coming into Bat City between now and Free Comic Book Day, and you have extra books at home, just bring it by, and we're going to help these kids have some books that they definitely need to find themselves.
I'm about to order a book on Amazon.
I just saw which book, and that's so great. And can you get the cover without Ezra on it?
So the problem is I can't, because the original copy is quite expensive.
That's fair.
I'm gonna see if I can find one. Oh, here we go.
There you go.
Here we go.
Awesome. He's talking about Percy being the Wallflower, if you guys don't know.
Oh.
It's a great book. Great book for teenagers. All teenagers should probably read Percy being the Wallflower.
It was a book that better helped me understand myself in high school.
Yeah.
Like, and that's something that, like, I want to pass on.
Oh, man. That's the great thing about books is, like, you get to help somebody else feel, like, maybe what you felt, but also maybe, like, what they need to feel. And it's such a great thing. If you have a book that was really impactful for you, like, that's a great one to consider donating. Books are, oh, God, I love books. Obviously, we love books. That's why we're here. But just what book speaks to you, find a way to hand it to a teenager who's in need of reading it right now, because there's a whole school district of kids who aren't getting physical books to read, and we want to make sure that we can. Speaking of books, comics out this week. Chad, I love that you always say availability is subject to change, because we do know that we are in a paper shortage. But Detective Comics 1059, which is the start of a new Riddler arc. So Riddler fans, Detective Comics is going to be a big one for you this week. Justice League 75, which is the Death of the Justice League Dark Crisis prequel. Thor 24 is out this week. Berserker number 8, slow moving but still going. Batman Beyond the White Knight number 2. The Swamp Thing issue 12 from Ram V. Carnage issue 2. Aquaman number 3. Bylines and Blood issue 4 finally. And then, of course, Saga 58, Something is Killing the Children 22, which I don't know if you guys heard or not, but issue 25 of Something is Killing Children is going to be oversized. That's coming out this summer. Ooh. It's going to be a thick issue of Something is Killing Children. Very excited. TMNT Last Ronin finally hitting the shelves this week. Rogues issue 2, Hulk Grand Designs, next volume is coming out. We have Demons number 2. I cannot wait. Just go ahead and put that in picks of the week.
Yes, most definitely.
Godzilla vs. Power Rangers issue 2, Hotel. Next issue of Hotel, Fourth Man issue 4, which should be the end of that. Godzilla Rivals, which is Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah. What? Nice. That's my book. So excited about that. There's going to be a lot of great comics out this week. There's even more I know I already saw. I'm super excited about them. It's gonna be a good week. It's gonna be a good week no matter what, because you finally get Last Ronin. About time. Yes. Matt, do you from back there have any deadlines anybody needs to drop off CGCs for signings coming up? I just want to double check.
Not this week.
Nothing this week that's due?
We'll let you know next week.
All right. We'll keep you posted. There's a lot of new announcements coming out. If you're not following CGC on Instagram,
do it.
Follow CGC so that you can keep up with when your favorite creators are doing in-house signings at CGC to kind of give you an idea.
Jerry Conway,
if you have that first Punisher, and a million other books. Death of Gwen Stacy.
House of Secrets 92.
There's oh my god, there's so many Jerry Conway books. Look up Jerry Conway. I think Dennis Cohen was announced for one, so if you got some of those early Milestone books, this is going to be a good time to get those in.
So much money.
There's so many creators coming up at CGC in-house signings, so if there's a creator that you've always wanted to sign your book, it's actually for a lot of those classic books, it's a great way to get your high-end comics both signed and graded for less money than it would cost you to just send it in to get it graded. So.
And also, some of these creators are guys who can't do the con circuits anymore.
Right.
There's a lot of older creators that you may not get a chance to see in person again. I mean, look at now what we're dealing with George Perez.
Yeah.
That's heartbreaking that I'm never going to get to meet him. So now's the time to do it. You may not get to meet them, but at least get those signatures. And
get your book preserved forever.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of great things coming up. Obviously, like we said, Free Comic Book Day, May 7th. We're going to have our festivities from 12 to 6-ish. We're going to see a lot of cool things coming up in those announcements. Don't forget to bring some books in for us to donate to the local high school that we will hopefully be able to name soon for you. Until then, we will see you in shop on Wednesday. As always, we're closed on Mondays and Tuesdays, but we'll see you in shop on Wednesday for New Comic Book Day. We hope you enjoyed watching. Hope you had a great wind down your weekend and that your week starts off great. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.